After her mother's death, she grows up living with a wealthy family, but their son turns her life into a nightmare. She is adopted by a rich family after losing her mother, but their arrogant son treats her like a servant. Our drama tells the story of a poor girl whose life suddenly changes after her mother's death. But will this change be for the better or worse? Stay with us to find out what happens to her. Today's summary begins with a beautiful girl in a big house. She narrates that happiness is not always in money. You can be rich, but still lonely, making wealth meaningless. 2 days earlier, the same girl is in her real home, which clearly belongs to a very poor family. We learn that our protagonist's name is Gia, and she sells milk to support herself and her mother. But it seems like she is searching for something important. She pulls out a necklace, whose significance we will discover later. Her mother calls her, telling her to stop working since she has already left school, and there's no reason for her to work. Her mother works as a seamstress and washes clothes, but Gia insists that she wants her to quit her job, which is why she will continue selling milk instead. Gia finds her necklace, grabs her bicycle keys, and heads out to deliver the milk. She changes her hairstyle before going to work. However, as soon as she steps outside, she is confronted by debt collectors demanding their money. Luckily, her friend steps in, helps her escape, and tells them she needs to work first to pay them back. Gia thanks him, takes her bicycle, and leaves. Meanwhile, in an upscale cafe, we see our male lead, Han, sitting with his laptop. He notices a man arguing with a girl, forcing her to sit with him and threatening her with a weapon. Disliking the situation, Han decides to intervene. He fights the man and throws him out of the cafe. Unfortunately, the man crashes into Gia, knocking over all her milk bottles, which shatter on the ground. Gia gets angry and demands compensation. The man blames Han, saying he was the one who threw him onto her, so Han should pay. Gia insists Han must pay for the milk, but he refuses. They argue, and in the scuffle, her necklace accidentally falls into his bag without her noticing. Just then, Ling arrives to take Han to school. He also pays Gia for the milk before they leave, but Gia soon realizes her necklace is missing and chases after their car on her bicycle. Meanwhile, a group of students is on a school bus. Their principal tells them that this is their last field training session. One student asks about Han and Ling, and another replies that Ling went to look for Han. Suddenly, a group of armed men ambushes the bus and kidnaps the student. Back at Gia's home, her mother receives calls from customers complaining that the milk hasn't arrived yet. They yell at her and threaten to report her. She apologizes and leaves to search for her daughter. She tries calling Sia, but at that moment, Zia is chasing Han's car, desperate to retrieve her necklace. Meanwhile, Han arrives at the school bus location but gets ambushed and kidnapped along with Ling. The kidnappers also take Zia, assuming she's one of the students. They confiscate everyone's phones and money and transport them to another location. Xia tries to explain that she's not with them, that she's just a milk seller, but no one listens. Ling tells her that if she can call the police, he will give her $1 million. She doesn't believe him. Meanwhile, Zia's mother is still trying to reach her daughter. Unfortunately, while crossing the road, she is hit by a car. She is then rushed to the hospital along with Zia's friend. At the same time, Zia's mother had left the iron on, and the clothes caught fire, spreading to the rest of the house. Back to the kidnappers and students. When the criminals demand their valuables, the students comply and promise to pay them money. But Gia asks Ling if his offer was real, and if he would really give her the money. He says yes, but she needs to find a way to contact someone. Xia comes up with a plan to trick the kidnappers into letting her go, and it works. They allow her to leave and even give her back her phone. However, she tells them that her necklace is in Han's bag and she needs it. Han goes with her to where the bags are stored and tells her he will give her 500,000 only if he gets out of there safely. She tries to come up with another plan, but it fails, and the kidnappers catch her. All the students blame her for putting them in danger. Just then, one of the kidnappers receives a phone call, and the students recognize his voice. It belongs to their teacher. It turns out that this was a school test to see if they could defend themselves. However, they all failed the test, and the simulation ends. Xia demands the money from Han, but he refuses, telling her she almost got them all killed if the kidnapping had been real. She takes back her phone, and just then, she receives a call from Meng, informing her that her mother was in an accident and is in the hospital, asking to see her. At the hospital, Xia's mother is in critical condition. A woman named Xian arrives, requesting to meet her. She was supposed to donate her kidney to her husband if she died. However, Meng gets angry, and tells her that Xia's mother is still alive. Xian insists on meeting her, saying she just wants to check on her and thank her for potentially saving her husband's life. Xia's mother makes a final request. She asks Xian to take care of her daughter. That is her only condition for donating her kidney after her death. Xian agrees, promising to look after Xia, support her until she finishes her education, and even arrange her marriage. Shortly after, Xia's mother passes away before she can see her daughter one last time. Xian calls her son, Han, and tells him that they found a kidney for his father, and he will be going into surgery. Han arrives at the hospital at the same time as Xia, who is heartbroken over her mother's death. She watches as they take her mother into surgery to retrieve the kidney. Xia confronts Xian and argues with her. She also hits Han, blaming his father for her not being able to see her mother before she died. Xian manages to calm her down, telling her that she will take care of her as if she were her own daughter. When Xia's mother comes out of surgery, Xia breaks down in tears, screaming that she is now alone in the world. Xian hugs her and reassures her, telling her that her mother entrusted her care to her. Starting tomorrow, she will live with her and be part of her family. That night, Xia stays with her friends, but she refuses to go home. Han's friend gives her a check from Han, but she rips it up and throws it away. The three of them sleep on the street together. The next morning at Xian's house, she instructs the staff to prepare the house for Xia's arrival. Han questions if she is really bringing Xia to live with them, and expresses his disapproval. However, Xian tells him that this is the new reality, and he needs to get used to it. Xia returns to her house, but is shocked to find it completely burned down. Her landlady argues with her, demanding compensation for the damages. Xia promises to pay, but explains that her mother just died that day, and she will start working tomorrow to earn the money. Xian arrives just in time and pays the landlady on Xia's behalf. She then takes Xia to her house, introduces her to the place, and tells her that this will be her new home from now on. She also tells her that if she needs anything, she can ask the staff. It becomes clear that Xian is treating her well and taking good care of her. However, Xia is still mourning her mother. Later, Xia goes to her room, and Han follows her, asking what she did with the check. She tells him she tore it up. He asks why she didn't want the money, and she replies that the person she wanted it for is gone, so it no longer matters to her. Han tells her that he doesn't accept her presence in his house and offers her double the amount to leave, but she yells at him and kicks him out of her room. He tells her that she knows where to find him if she changes her mind. That night, Xia sneaks into Han's room while he's sleeping, trying to retrieve her necklace. However, he senses her presence, wakes up and kicks her out, preventing her from taking it. The next morning, Xia dresses well and looks beautiful. When Han sees her, it is clear that he is impressed, but he hides his feelings. Xian tells them that she has enrolled Xia in Han's prestigious school. Han objects, arguing that it is an elite school for the wealthy, and he doesn't want anyone to know he is associated with a poor girl like her. However, Xian tells him that she has already enrolled her as his fiancée. Both Han and Xia are shocked by this revelation and strongly object, but Xian tells them that her decision is final. Xian warns Han not to bother Xia. The next morning, Xia and Han get ready to go to school together. In the car, Han warns Xia not to even mention that she knows him. When they arrive at school, Han introduces Xia to the students as his servant, telling them that if they need anything from him, they should ask her. This, of course, infuriates Xia because he is treating her badly. However, Xia is surprised to find her friend Nan at the school. She asks her what she is doing there, and Nan explains that she asked her father to transfer her to this school so they could be together, and he agreed. Xia is happy that she won't be alone at school. Nan then takes Xia on a tour of the school. While walking, they witness a group of students bullying another student, beating him up. Xia wants to step in and help, but Nan stops her, reminding her that they are here to study, not get involved. Later, Xia sees a boy bullying a girl, forcing her to serve him. The girl appears helpless and unable to defend herself. When they arrive in class, Nan tells Xia that the seat she is sitting in belonged to a girl who had a crush on Han, but when she confessed her feelings to him, he expelled her from the school. Nan warns Xia that Han is the worst enemy to have at this school, but Xia confidently says she isn't afraid of him. The principal enters the classroom and introduces their new teacher, Tian, who is replacing the previous teacher who was injured in the last field training. At that moment, Wang, the bullied student, walks in. The principal notices his injuries and asks what happened to his face. Wang lies and says he ran into a tree. Xia is about to stand up and tell the truth. that she saw the students beating him, but Nan quickly pulls her back by her uniform, causing it to tear accidentally. During the break, Nan sews Jia's uniform back together, but Jia feels something is off. As soon as she steps out, everyone starts staring and laughing at her. She asks Nan if she sewed it properly, and Nan confidently says yes, even boasting about her sewing. However, it turns out that she stitched the uniform terribly, making it look like a rabbit's tail. Meanwhile, Han is waiting for Jia, but grows impatient and wants to leave without her since she is late. He doesn't want to go home with her. However, Mr. Han-yun reminds him that Xian ordered him to wait for her. Just then, the girl Han expelled for confessing her love to him approaches, begging him to let her return to school. He refuses and even calls security to take her away. Jia arrives just in time to witness the scene. She clearly disapproves of how Han treats the girl, but before she can say anything, he scolds her for being late. She gets into the car with him, feeling upset. When they get home, Xian notices that Jia is unhappy and asks Han if he upset her. Han insists that he didn't even speak to her, but Xian is still suspicious. She orders him to go and apologize to Jia, but he refuses. Xian then threatens to return the telescope he had requested. Han immediately objects, revealing that he really cares about the telescope. But why? Well, I'll tell you later. In Jia's room, she remembers what happened with Wang and the bullied girl. She feels sad that she couldn't stand up for them at the time. Han then enters her room, but Jia tells him that he shouldn't enter without permission because she's a girl, and he needs to knock first. However, Han arrogantly responds that she shouldn't forget that this is his house, and he can go anywhere he wants without asking for permission. He also reminds her that she promised to leave the house soon. He then threatens her, saying that if she doesn't leave, he will make her life miserable, both at home and at school. After saying this, he walks away, leaving Jia in tears. She talks to herself, thinking that if it weren't for her mother's dying wish for her to continue her education, she would have left long ago. The next day at school, Jia accidentally bumps into Han, which makes him furious. As punishment, he orders her to fetch juice and distribute it to all the classrooms. Ling, who is with him at the time, tells Han that what he's doing is wrong. However, Han dismisses him, saying that Jia is his servant, and he can do whatever he wants with her. It becomes clear that Ling is interested in Jia, but unfortunately, Jia obeys Han's orders to avoid causing trouble at school. The students soon hear about the fight between Jia and Han, and rumors spread that Jia is pregnant with Han's child. This news reaches Shino through her friend Xin. We learn that Shino has a crush on Han, but he ignores her completely. Later, after collecting the juice, Jia goes to Han's classroom to distribute it. However, as soon as she enters, the students throw trash at her. Ling tries to protect her, but Jia fights back and throws the trash right back at them. A big fight breaks out, and it becomes clear that Jia is not an ordinary girl. She can stand up for herself and challenge them. Han watches the whole scene from a distance, surprised by Xia's reaction. Meanwhile, back in Xia's class, Shino and her friends come looking for her. Fengji tells them she isn't there but offers to deliver a message to her. In response, they hit him and say that this is their message. Just then, Jia enters and defends Fengji. One of the girls tries to hit Xia, but she dodges and warns her that if she tries to hit her again, she won't hold back. At that moment, Shino steps in and warns Jia that if she gets close to Han, she will destroy her. She also mentions that she heard the rumor that Jia is pregnant with Han's child. Jia immediately denies it, saying it's just a rumor and that she has nothing to do with Han. She also tells Shino that she doesn't want to see her again. Furious, Shino storms out. The entire class is proud of Jia for standing up to the bullies and defending them. Meanwhile, Han goes back to his classroom and angrily scolds his classmates. He asks who was responsible for what happened, but they lie, claiming they were aiming at the teacher instead. Han doesn't believe them and warns them that if they try something like that again, he won't let it slide. In the school cafeteria, Jia is having lunch with Nan when they are approached by Wang and Mu, two students who are also bullied. They want to befriend Jia, hoping that she will protect them from Han. To show their sincerity, they offer her food, fish. However, Jia has a fish allergy, so she refuses. The boys feel rejected and think she doesn't want to be their friend, so she forces herself to eat it to avoid hurting their feelings. Nan warns her about her allergy, but Jia ignores it. Later, when she returns to class, she starts showing symptoms of an allergic reaction. She begins itching a lot, which is the first sign of her allergy. Lon notices and asks her why she ate the fish if she knew she was allergic. Jia replies that she felt bad for the boys and didn't want to embarrass them. At that moment, Teacher Tian is giving a lesson about meteors. Han is seen holding a piece of a meteorite. A flashback shows him with his ex-girlfriend who loved meteorites and believed they could grant wishes. Han had promised to get her a piece. Back in the present, he looks at the meteorite and sadly asks where she is now. In the classroom, teacher Tien asks Jia to examine a vase and determine whether it's real or fake. However, she accidentally breaks it, which upsets Tien. Jia, trying to lighten the mood, says, "Since you're upset, that means it was real." Later, Tien tells Jia that the vase was extremely valuable and that he had borrowed it from the principal. He doesn't know how he will explain its loss. Jia offers to pay for it, but Tien tells her that it's too expensive and she wouldn't be able to afford it. He then tells her to leave, saying he will handle it. When Jia returns to class, her classmates ask what happened. She tells them that Tien said she couldn't afford the vase, but didn't punish her. Since she wasn't expelled, her friends decide to go out that night to celebrate. Jia agrees and tells them she'll take them somewhere special. That night, Jia and her friends go out together, including Ling, who is happy to be with Jia. However, his mood sours when Feng arrives. Meanwhile, at home, Xian orders Han to go look for Xia because she is worried about her. She even threatens him with the telescope again, so he is forced to listen. Back to the group, Ling becomes irritated with Feng because he notices how close Xia is to him. At the same time, Feng is upset when he learns that Xia is engaged to Han. However, he doesn't know the full story, that the engagement isn't real. Heartbroken, he gets up and leaves, revealing that he has feelings for Xia, though she remains unaware. Feng ends up running into a group of thugs who demand money from him. It's either pay up or get beaten up. Xia, ever curious, because they're friends, decides to intervene. Unfortunately, this gets everyone involved in a full-blown brawl. Even Ling, despite not being close friends with them, joins in because, well, fights bring people together. At one point, a gang member is about to hit Xia, but Han arrives just in time. Unlike the police, who always show up late, like any classic hero, he steps in and takes the hit for her. Realizing that the fight isn't going to end anytime soon, the guys tell the girls to leave while they handle it. Soon after, an even larger group of thugs appears, making things even worse. Feng asks, "What do we do now?" Ling replies, "Do you know how to run?" Feng, confused, says, "Of course, but why?" Ling interrupts, "Because we're running, obviously. Do we even need to discuss this?" And just like that, time to flee. Because in this situation, running isn't just half the bravery, it's all of it. Han eventually returns home with Xia, who had run off after everything. She takes Han to her room to treat his wound, since it was her fault he got injured in the first place. But of course, Xian can't let anything slide. She eavesdrops at the door, trying to hear what's happening inside. However, in a surprising turn of events, Han, who should be the one kicking her out, gets the door shut in her face by Xian. She awkwardly makes an excuse, saying she dropped her earring outside in the dark, but decided to search for it in the light. Smooth move, Xian. Back inside, Xia apologizes to Han for everything that happened, and also thanks him for his heroic act in protecting her. But Han, being difficult as usual, tells her, "If you had just left the house, none of this would have happened to me." Xia then informs him that she's actively looking for a place to stay, and will leave as soon as she finds one, so he won't have to see her again. She asks him to let her finish her studies in peace, so she can finally be done with this school year. Han replies that she has some time until she finds a place, but once she does, she shouldn't expect any mercy from him if he kicks her out. He won't tolerate her much longer. He also tells her to start looking immediately and that she'd better find something soon, because he can't stand living with her in the same house. Liar. Xia, of course, is hurt by his words, but she doesn't argue back, knowing he'll only hit her with another snarky remark. So, she just lets it go. The next day at school, Xia meets Ling, who notices her standing outside and asks her what's wrong. She tells him she's waiting for Nan since they have somewhere to go together, but Nan is running late. Ling, sensing her sadness, asks if something is wrong. Xia hesitates, but then admits that she's looking for a new place to stay. Ling asks, "Is Han still being difficult with you?" Xia sarcastically replies, "Oh no, he's an angel. There's no one like him, but I have to leave anyway." Ling offers to take her to a nearby residential area after school to see if she can find a place to rent. Xia goes through her school day as usual, and after classes, she accompanies Ling to a house near the school. It turns out to be his grandmother's old house, the place she used to escape to whenever she fought with his grandfather. Xia likes the house immediately, and even finds an old sewing machine belonging to Ling's grandmother. She asks if it still works, to which Ling responds by asking if she knows how to sew. Xia nods, explaining that her mother was a seamstress and taught her how to sew from a young age. She adds that both her parents attended the same school she's currently in and were fashion designers, but luck wasn't on their side, and they never became famous. Their situation worsened over time. However, Jia dreams of becoming a renowned designer and is determined to make it happen. Ling, seeing how much she likes the place, tells her he'll ask his grandmother for permission first, but he's sure she will agree. Jia thanks him and says she wishes she could repay his kindness. Ling then suggests they go out together that night. Later, Jia informs Xian that she plans to move out. Xian immediately asks, "Is Han the reason? Is he still giving you trouble?" Before Jia can respond, Han jumps in. "Why is everything always my fault?" Xian snaps at him. "Shut up! I know you're making things difficult for her." Ah, a mother's intuition. However, Xian refuses to let Jia move out, especially since Han's father is still in the hospital and hasn't even met Jia yet. Though, honestly, it's questionable whether we'll ever see him at all. Han then tells Jia, "The moment my father gets out of the hospital, I don't want to see you in my house ever again." Later, Ling picks Jia up for their night out, but she is shocked to see Han tagging along. She turns to Ling and says, "So he suffocates me at home, and now you bring him along to suffocate me outside too?" Ling, trying to play peacemaker, attempts to get them to get along, but neither seems thrilled about being together. Despite the initial tension, the outing turns out to be fun. Of course, Han never misses an opportunity to tease Jia, but they end up stargazing together. This moment brings back memories for both of them. Jia remembers something her mother once said about stars. Meanwhile, Han's admirer, Shin, is with her friend who tells her the latest gossip. Han went out with Jia. Furious, Shin starts plotting to get Han back. The next day, Jia arrives at her classroom only to find her classmates gathered outside, screaming. When she enters, she is shocked to see her desk covered in what looks like blood with a knife placed on top. However, after closer inspection, she realizes it's just fake blood. Clearly, someone is trying to scare her. She immediately suspects Han. Could he really be behind this, or is someone else responsible? Stay tuned to find out. Later, the students participate in a school activity where they plant trees as part of a responsibility-building exercise. However, Jia starts bullying Ren while they work. Jia, unable to resist meddling, decides to intervene and asks Jia to leave Ren alone. Nan tries to stop her, warning her not to get involved and risk getting into trouble. But Jia doesn't listen and ends up punching Jia. Jia dramatically pretends to faint from the punch, just as the principal arrives and demands to know what happened. Jia's friends claim that Jia hit him for no reason, but Nan steps in saying she was only defending Ren. Unfortunately, Ren stays silent, not saying a word in Jia's defense. As a result, the principal punishes Jia by making her plant the entire field by herself. Despite the scorching heat, Jia refuses to give up. Nan suggests she pretend to faint, just like Jia did, to get out of it. But Jia refuses, determined to finish the task. However, the heat eventually overwhelms her, and she collapses from exhaustion. When she wakes up, she finds herself in the infirmary, where Maria, everyone's favorite school nurse, is taking care of her. Ling comes by to check on her and informs her that Han is handling the situation with his family. Maria advises Jia to stop getting involved in other people's problems, reminding her that she isn't a superhero who needs to save everyone. But Jia insists, saying that Ren helped her before, and she simply wanted to return the favor. Shortly after, teacher Deanne also comes to check on her. He asks Maria to keep an eye on Jia and even suggests that Jia work with her to protect her from the school bullies. However, when Jia returns to her classroom, she is shocked to find that everyone is ignoring her. Her classmates refuse to even look at her, and she discovers that all her books have been torn apart on her desk. Ren then throws her a note that reads, "I'm sorry for what happened, but I can't talk to you anymore." In the note, he also reveals that the person who did this to her was Nan. Arrives at the classroom and takes Jia's destroyed books, throwing them in the trash. She gives Jia her own books to use until she can replace them. She also brings Jia a lot of her favorite food, trying to cheer her up since she has no one left but her. The next day, the students have a traditional tea ceremony lesson. Jia takes the opportunity to apologize to Mr. Tien for breaking his vase and promises to buy him a new one. However, he tells her that it was cheap and there's no need. During the tea practice, Jia prepares tea for Ling, but Han, jealous, rushes over, grabs the cup, and drinks it himself. He then hands her the empty cup and says, "It tastes awful." Jia retorts, "Then why did you drink the whole thing?" Meanwhile, Xian, Han's admirer, gets furious because Han's attention is clearly on Jia. After school, Jia visits an abandoned-looking house, which turns out to be Mr. Tien's home. She came to give him a replacement vase, but is surprised to find the place filled with beautiful paintings. She asks if he painted them, and he confirms that he did, but he became a teacher because art doesn't pay the bills. Zia tells him that she dreams of becoming a designer, which is also a form of art. She gives him the vase, telling him it's worth $20 more than the previous one. Tien asks her if she likes any of his paintings. She points to one of the sun, and he tells her she can have it as a gift, but she must promise to take good care of it. Zia happily accepts and leaves with the painting. However, Tien looks sad and takes out the vase, murmuring to himself, I wish the broken one really had only cost $50. As Jia returns to school, someone throws a flower vase at her from above, but Ling manages to pull her away just in time. He tells her that Han isn't the culprit, and she agrees, saying Han may hate her, but not to the extent of doing something like this. Later, Ling takes Xia out to dinner, and she asks why he treats her so well. He doesn't know how to respond and avoids the question, but it's clear that he has strong feelings for her. Meanwhile, Han is having dinner with his mother, who asks about Xia. When he says he doesn't know where she is, she orders him to wait for her outside until she returns. Reluctantly, Han goes outside but gets annoyed when he sees Xia arriving with Ling. To cover up the fact that he was waiting for her, he starts jogging. However, Ling grabs him and says, "Come on, man, you're not fooling anyone." But she decides to go to Feng to ask for his help in finding a job. She says that she has caused someone a great loss, so she wants to work and compensate him. Feng tells her that he can lend her the money, but she insists that she will still be in debt to him, and it's better for her to work. Then we see the young man who took the girl that tried to kill Xia. We learn that his name is Jin. We see him going to a certain place, and it turns out that he has locked her up there. When he enters, we find the girl who attempted to kill Xia. She begs him to let her go, saying that he has kept her locked up for a long time. She insists that she must leave and kill Xia because she is not like any other girl who loved Han. Jin calms her down, promising to help her get closer to Han, but she yells at him, saying that he has been telling her the same thing for 10 years. However, he confesses that he has loved her for 10 years, even though she never noticed. Despite that, he is still willing to make Han fall for her. Could this girl be the reason for Han's first love disappearing? Stay tuned to find out. After school, Xia is picked up by Feng, and Han sees this, which makes him upset. Later, Xia arrives at her new workplace, which turns out to be a car wash. The salary is good because the area is filled with luxury cars, and the owners pay well. Feng introduces her to the manager, Leo, who is his friend, and asks him to take good care of her. Then he leaves. Xia starts working at the car wash and does her job diligently. The others are annoyed because she took their work and got more customers. However, Leo is impressed with her and praises her hard work. That day, Xia receives her first salary, which is quite big because she worked harder than the others, and she's very happy about it. Later, Xia returns home and is startled to find Han sitting in the dark. She asks him why he's sitting there like that, and he replies that he was reading and fell asleep. Xia teases him, saying, "Yeah, right, there's not even a single light on." Just then, Han's mother appears and embarrasses him further, revealing that Han had actually been staying up, waiting for her. Xia apologizes and promises to inform them next time if she's going to be late. The next day, Xia returns to work, but her coworkers are still envious of her. They resent her for being better than them and for taking more customers, which led to her receiving a higher salary than them the previous day. So they start harassing her, drenching her with water to make her unable to continue working. Just then, Ling arrives and rescues her, giving her his jacket so she doesn't catch a cold, even though it's hot outside. Han doesn't stay quiet either and approaches them arrogantly, telling them to wash his car, thinking it will annoy them. But that doesn't make sense because they already work at a car wash. Anyway, we'll let that slide. Ling then scolds Xia for working in that place. She explains that she has debts to pay. He asks her if she means Tien's vase. Surprised, she asks, "You knew about that too?" Ling confirms and tells her that if she doesn't want to accept money from him, he will find her a better job. Later, Xia meets Maria, a nurse who asks why she wants to work. Xia says it's to pay off her debt. Maria then asks, "You mean Tien's vase, right?" Xia is shocked and asks, "Does everyone know about it now?" Maria then comes up with a plan. She and Xia set a trap for the boys who keep harassing Maria, and they give them a good beating to make sure they never bother her again. However, Maria notices that Xia always seems sad and asks her why. Xia confesses that she feels guilty for ruining Tien's dream of holding an art exhibition. Maria advises her not to dwell on what she did wrong, but to focus on how she can fix it. She tells Xia that she still has a chance to help Tien, but in a different way. She just needs to think of a solution. Xia gets an idea and goes to the principal's office, asking for permission to use the school's theater. However, he refuses. She keeps suggesting different locations, but he keeps rejecting them until she finally mentions the school's field. He agrees and asks her what she plans to do. She tells him she wants to organize a big art exhibition with wealthy attendees who will participate in an art auction, but she doesn't reveal who the artist is. The principal encourages her and tells her to prove herself. Jia then meets up with her friend who helps her prepare for the exhibition. Meanwhile, Han watches everything she does and admires her determination. Later, Jia and Nan try selling tickets for the event, but no one is interested. Nan starts to worry, saying, "It looks like we won't make it in time and we'll lose the challenge." But Jia reassures her, saying that she has a plan that will make the tickets sell out in seconds. She then executes her idea, and soon people rush to buy the tickets. Afterward, they begin distributing invitations for the exhibition. Suddenly, hunger strikes Jia and the rest of the troublemakers, messing up her plan. They also take food from her forcefully. But then Han arrives and warns everyone to stay away from her or he will deal with them. Even though he's frustrated, he remains in control. The group leaves, allowing Jia to continue what she's doing. Later, Jia returns home and sits down to design more invitations. Han is with her, and he mentions in front of his mother that Jia is planning to hold an exhibition. He hints that his mother should support her. His mother understands immediately and decides to help Jia. She tells her that she will attend the exhibition and support her. That evening, Jia goes to Han's room to thank him for his kindness. She appreciates how he's been helping her and wants his mother to attend the exhibition. Of course, with someone as influential as her, the principal would soften towards Jia, and her competitors would be intimidated. Han denies that he had such an intention and says it's all just her imagination. But Jia points out that he wanted his mother to bring her friends to buy the paintings, because no auction works without buyers. Han is caught off guard by her insight. A funny moment happens between them, when Han accidentally splashes water on her face. Jia uses the towel around his neck to dry her face. At that moment, his mother walks in and, like always, misunderstands the situation. She encourages them to continue, thinking they're in love. Han tries to explain, but his mother insists that there's nothing wrong with love. Jia feels extremely awkward, especially since she didn't think Han would act like that. The next day at school, Jia continues distributing invitations with Nan, but their teacher, Diane, notices them and asks what they're doing. They hide the invitations to prevent him from discovering their plans. However, he manages to take the invitations from them. He's shocked to learn they are planning an exhibition in his name. He takes the invitations and tells them that no exhibition will take place, as the school has strict rules that prohibit art exhibitions. If they go ahead with it, the principal might even expel them. He also announces that he's quitting painting, saying it's not as important as other work. Afterward, Jia goes to Tian to convince him to hold the exhibition, insisting that a talented artist like him shouldn't hide his art from the world. However, Tian tells her that going ahead with the exhibition might cause trouble for both him and the students, as he needs money and is dependent on his job. He pleads with her to stop before they get expelled, but Jia is determined to go ahead with it, even if it means being expelled. Jia hangs the exhibition poster, but they face a big problem. The painting they were supposed to display is missing. Ling tells them to leave it to him, and he'll take care of it. Meanwhile, we see Tian talking to Maria, who seems to be deliberately trying to delay him, giving Ling time to steal the painting. Rumors begin to spread among the students about Tian trying to take the principal's job, and the principal overhears this. Meanwhile, Han calls his mother to remind her about the exhibition, but she's busy playing with her friend and doesn't have time to talk. The exhibition is set up, and it looks beautiful, but when they go inside, Han starts interfering, trying to stop the exhibition. He even tries to help his friends ruin it, but Jia stops them. Just then, the principal arrives and tells Jia that if she wants to fight him, it's not because their school is prestigious. He says the exhibition won't take place because she lied to him about organizing it. In the meantime, Maria accidentally reveals to Tian that the students went ahead with the exhibition. Tian gets angry with her for participating in their plans, but Maria argues that she doesn't want him to waste his life in a job he doesn't care about. She reminds him that painting is his real dream, and he needs to pursue it. Tian feels conflicted, knowing that going ahead with the exhibition could cause problems and punishment for everyone. He runs to the field where he sees the principal about to punish the students, but he apologizes on their behalf, admitting that it was his mistake. The principal scolds him, calling him a failure as a teacher, saying that if he had been present, none of this mess would have happened. He also tells Tian that if he can't control his students, he should quit teaching and find another job. Tian apologizes again, admitting that he's the cause of everything and promises to bear any punishment. However, The principal imposes a very harsh punishment on the student. For the first time, Tian protests against the principal's decision. Han tells him to get him anything he likes, but to make sure to invite Xia to his birthday. Lin suggests that Xia might not come because she doesn't have the money to buy him a gift. Han insists that he doesn't want a gift from her, just her present. Lin tells him that he should invite her himself. At home, Han is talking to Kim, the head servant, who asks him what gifts he would like for his birthday. Han deliberately raises his voice so that Xia can hear him. He says that he doesn't want any gifts, but she should still come. Xia overhears this and thinks to herself that he's trying to make her feel guilty. She pretends not to notice and goes into her room, but Han follows her. He enters her room and asks what she's doing. She tells him she's writing notes for the teacher to give to him tomorrow. He gives her money in an envelope, and she asks what it's for. He says it's her allowance, reminding her of his birthday, and that he doesn't want a gift. She still acts like she doesn't understand. The next day, Xia's class is talking about Han's birthday, and they want to attend. They ask Xia to come with them, but she says she won't attend. At that moment, Han walks in, and everyone clears the way for him, as if he were the president. Han approaches Xia and tells her she has to come to his birthday. She tells him she has more important things to do, and that she needs to feed the cats. Han tells her he will wait for her to finish, and the birthday party will begin when she arrives. He even invites the rest of the class for her sake. Xia agrees to go, but says she needs to feed the cats first. Xia goes to meet Feng, and they head to their favorite spot, a place where they write encouraging messages to each other. There, Xia finds someone writing encouraging words for her, but she doesn't know who it is. She tells Feng she wishes she could meet this person. He hands her money for her clothing designs, telling her that people really like her designs. However, she insists that he take the money and use it to open the barbershop he wants, treating the money as a partnership between them. He refuses to accept the money and tells Xia that he feels like she has become strange to him. However, she assures him that they will remain friends no matter what happens. Xia then takes her clothes to Lin's grandmother's house to have a t-shirt made for Han. Meanwhile, Han is waiting for them at the birthday party to begin the celebration, as everyone is asking when it will start. He tells them soon until Lin arrives with Xia. When Han sees them, he feels extremely jealous, but he starts the celebration. He thanks his mother for all her sacrifices for him. Then, he takes the gift from Xia, telling her that he didn't want anything from her. But Lin tells him the gift was specially designed for him. Shin, who is watching, can feel the jealousy in the air. She suggests to Xia that they play a prank and asks if they should play a game. Xia initially doesn't want to play, but Shin provokes her so that she agrees. During the game, Shin tries to make Xia lose, but Xia manages to escape from the first question. Later, Xia's turn comes again, and Han asks her to come closer to him, but Z taunts her, saying she's too scared to approach Han. However, Xia does come closer, which surprises everyone, including Han's mother, who is pleased with what she sees. Later, Xia asks Han a question about his ex-girlfriend, and Lin suggests changing the question, but Xia refuses. Han gets angry, shouts at her, and storms off. Lin rushes after him to calm him down. Han asks if Lin told Xia about his ex, but Lin denies it. Han tells him he has forgotten her long ago, and Lin advises him that if he truly has forgotten her, then he should forgive Xia for asking the question, as she didn't mean to hurt him. Xia talks to her friend Nan, asking her why Han got so angry. Nan doesn't know, and then Shin steps in, telling Xia she provoked Han and upset him. She starts asking Xia about the way her mother died, which makes Xia upset. She tells Shin that it's a personal matter and doesn't concern her. Shin then compares it to when Xia asked Han about his ex-girlfriend. Shin tells Xia that if she wants to reconcile with Han, she should do something. Xia asks what she should do, and Shin suggests that Han loves a particular song. If she plays it and sings, Han will forgive her. This, of course, is Shin's plan to get Xia closer to Han. Xia follows Shin's suggestion and plays the song. As soon as Han hears it, he gets angry and scolds her, telling her she has no right to play that song. Xia responds that she only played it to apologize to him, but he still insulted her. Han asks who told her to play the song, and she points to Shin, who denies it and calls Xia a liar. The argument escalates, and Xia tries to hit Shin, but Han intervenes and pushes Xia away from her. Unfortunately, Xia falls into the water and gets her clothes wet. Han's mother sees what happened and comes down, yelling at Han for pushing Xia into the water, but he ignores her. Han's mother takes Xia upstairs to change her clothes. After everything that happened, Han kicks everyone out of the party and ruins the birthday celebration. Shin and Z are happy that Xia is upset. Later, Han plays the same song that Xia was playing earlier, and he gets lost in memories of when he played it for his ex-girlfriend. He used to play it just for her. He remembers how they used to play it together and how they used to be excited about their future. She had once told him that they would graduate soon, but she was afraid they wouldn't be able to go to the same university. Han reassures her that he will do whatever it takes to be with her. He tells her they will spend only 2 years in Korea for their studies, and then they will go abroad to get married and continue their lives together. He promises her a wedding that will be talked about by everyone, and he swears they will be together forever. However, Shia responds that she doesn't care about the wedding or what people think. All that matters to her is being together with him. It seems like their love is unshakable, reaching its limits. But what happened that made them drift apart? You'll find out at the end of the summary, so stay tuned. Han reflects on the time when they were supposed to sing together at a party, but she didn't show up. He sings alone, feeling hurt because she broke her promise to him, despite all the promises they made to be together forever. However, she later comes to him and apologizes for not coming. She explains that she couldn't defy her parents' wishes and that she now has an opportunity she can't miss in order to achieve her dream. She tells him she won't be attending the same university as him and will travel abroad without him. Han assures her that he will follow her wherever she goes, wanting to stay close and be together as they once dreamed. But she tells him that what they talked about before didn't fully make sense to them and that it's too early to talk about that now. She wants to be free, not just his wife, who carries his name. She worries that people will assume she married him for his wealth and to achieve her dreams. She wants to build her own identity first and then think about being in a relationship. She says that when she is with him, she wants to be sure of her feelings for him and she wants to be successful on her own, not just known as his wife. She asks him if he can handle her success and support her, or if he will be jealous of it and hide it from others, as she will not accept being someone who just takes his money or lives off his name. Han surprises her by saying that he will wait for her for the rest of his life to be together. He also wishes for her success, because her success is his success. However, she shocks him when she tells him not to wait for her, as she doesn't intend to return to Korea. She believes that his waiting will be in vain, and that he needs to find new love that he deserves. She says she has chosen her path and knows what she wants. She tells him that he must think about his future first, and then love again. She believes that love cannot survive if it is not clear and planned from the beginning. She has chosen to be herself first and has let go of her love forever. She bids him farewell for the last time and leaves, ending their relationship. Han is heartbroken because he gave her so much love and even decided to wait for her, but she didn't want to continue. When he asks her the real reason for their breakup, she never tells him the truth behind it. They promised each other to be together for a lifetime, and it's impossible for such a great love to fade overnight. Han's mother calls him, urging him to make up with Shia since he went too far with her, but Han refuses, saying it was her fault from the beginning. He goes inside and leaves her. Han's mother pretends to cry and act upset so that her son will feel guilty and reconcile with Shia. Mr. Kim arrives to try to calm her down and believes her act. She tells him she is just pretending to cry to make her son reconcile with Shia, and she wants him to stay out of it. The next day, Shia meets Han at the house for breakfast, but they don't speak to each other. It seems that both want to say something, but Han's mother calls them to have breakfast. Shia almost trips, and Han rushes to catch her. At that moment, Han's mother sees them and wonders if they are pretending to be upset with each other to hide their love. She asks Shia what's going on between them, but both of them leave her without answering, wanting to avoid the awkwardness. Shia leaves to go to school but can't find Han there. When she asks Mr. Kim about him, he tells her Han is taking the day off due to feeling unwell. Han, however, is watching her from above as she walks away. Han later opens the gifts he received for his birthday and finds Shia's gift, a shirt. When he tries it on, he really likes it, but then he notices something that shocks him. The back of the shirt has something written on it, which in their culture is associated with a funeral. He becomes very upset, takes it off, and decides to go to the school to take revenge on her. At school, the students hear about the fight between Shia and Han, and they decide to make her life difficult and take revenge on Han. When Shia arrives at school, everyone starts avoiding her, making her feel like she smells bad. Even her friends in class treat her the same way, which confuses her. She gets through it, but later finds that her desk has been sabotaged and glued, and she calls Lin to help her. Ling advises Shia to complain to Shan about what's happening to her, but she refuses, saying she's been through worse things. He promises to always stand by her and protect her. When the physical education class starts, they begin training, but like in previous situations, Shin stands in Shia and her friend Nan's way. When Shia tries to move away, Shin insults her and tells her to stay away from Han because she's not worthy of him. Shin threatens to make sure Shia's father cancels his work deal with Shia's father, but Shia defends her friend and tells Shin that she should have Xian do the same to her, and that she wants the work issue kept out of their petty argument. Shin gets furious at Shia's words and almost slaps her, but Shia manages to knock her down to the ground. In that moment, the teacher, who seems to notice no one except her, punishes Shia for knocking Shin over, who pretends to be hurt. The teacher orders Shia to run around the track 30 times. Her classmates want to help her, but she threatens to tell the teacher if they intervene. Shia continues running, even though it's extremely hot, and she is exhausted. She refuses to stop because she doesn't want to get into trouble at school, and also wants to graduate as her mother advised her to. Her classmates stand by, watching and objecting to what's happening. Teacher Maher warns them that if they don't return to their class immediately, they will face the same punishment as Shia. They don't care and say it doesn't matter. He threatens to affect their grades, and they finally go back to class. Meanwhile, Shin sits watching and asks Z to get her a cold drink. At that moment, Han arrives at the school and looks for Shia. Ling continues to laugh about the gift Shia gave him and jokingly says that it looks good on him, even if it's a shroud. Han tells him he will return the favor properly. He then runs into Z and asks about Shia. She lies, saying she's in the library. When they go there, the library is locked. They realize something's wrong and follow Z, who tries to warn Shin that Han is looking for Shia. She doesn't catch up to him, and Han eventually finds Z. Han asks her what's going on, but she can't respond. He then goes to find Shia, who refuses to stop running. He picks her up, forcing her to stop, and carries her. Before leaving, he tells Shin that he's back for her and won't leave her. At Xian's house, Xia has a bad feeling about what's going to happen. Her suspicions are confirmed when she's Han walking in carrying Xia. She thinks Xia has passed out from exhaustion and is very frightened. Han reassures her that Xia is just asleep due to exhaustion. Xian assumes Han is the one who did this to her, and she asks Ling if that's true. He denies it and says Han is innocent. They don't know the real reason, but when they arrived, they found Xia running alone. Mr. Kim tells Xian that Han is not the one who did this because he clearly cares about Xia and is accepting her more now. Ling is surprised by Kim's words and asks him what he means. Kim says that Xia has been chosen as Han's bride. At that moment, sadness appears on Ling's face. Han takes Xia to her room and asks the doctor to come as soon as possible, even if it means taking a plane. Han's mother is standing by the door eavesdropping. Xia tells Han that she's fine and doesn't need a doctor, but Han moves closer to her and says he wants to make an agreement with her. He suggests they stop fighting for a while because he likes her. Xia is shocked by his words because he is treating her kindly, unlike his usual arrogant and hot-headed behavior. She refuses to make the promise he asked of her because she's sure it's a trap. Han tells her that she should be thankful that he's even thinking of her. She laughs and says, "There you go back to your old self. I was starting to worry about you." Han gets angry at her laughter and is about to get closer to her, but the doctor arrives. Han tells his mother, who was eavesdropping, to stop her behavior, but she denies it. The doctor examines Xia, and Han sits with Ling, who asks him about something. Han denies it and says his mother is the one pushing him. He's just trying to appease her until his father comes back from the hospital, because his father will not forgive him if he makes his mother upset. His mother holds him responsible for anything that happens to her, so he tries to take care of her and watch over her. Ling reassures Han, telling him that he doesn't love Xia, and Han says that once his father returns, he will take Xia and leave. Han gets upset by Ling's words and thinks to himself, "Take her wherever you want." That night, Han goes to bed but can't sleep because he's thinking about Xia. He remembers the first time he met her and how happy he was with her, but he keeps denying his feelings. He recalls Ling's words about taking her and gets angry again. Suddenly, he hears a loud noise. It comes from Xia's room, so he runs to her. When he reaches her, he finds her lying on the floor. He steps on her as if she were an insect, thinking she is a ghost, and asks her what made her fall. Xia tells him she fell while coming to drink, and asks him to help her get up, but he tells her to beg him first. She tells him to leave and take the door with him. He leaves but stands by the door, listening to her pretending to be in pain. He finally enters again, and as he tries to help her up, they both fall. Who sees them? Yes, it's Han's mother, who tells them to take their time and leaves. Misunderstanding the situation, they are both embarrassed, thinking she got the wrong idea. The next day, they both go to school together, but they can't stand each other. Even at school, Han completely ignores Xia. She doesn't talk to Maria, who asks her in confusion why Han offered to date her. Maria tells her, "What's the problem? If you like him, accept it. If you don't, reject him." but Shia says she knows it's part of Han's plan to make her fall in love with him, only for him to later tell her that she's not worthy of him. Maria responds saying, "You're old-fashioned. Those things are outdated. You should just accept it if you like him." Maria then finds out that Shia has feelings for Dian, but he thinks the same way as Han. Maria tells Shia that there's a storm coming today, and she should leave early before the rain starts. Meanwhile, Han is with Ling, who asks him what's going on. Han explains that he asked Shin to come so he could hold her accountable for what happened with Shia. Shin arrives and Han asks her what happened. She denies any involvement and claims it was Han who did this to her. Han doesn't believe her, but warns her that if anything happens to Shia, she will be held responsible, even if she wasn't directly involved. He makes it clear that she's responsible for Shia's safety at school. After that, they leave her and go inside. But Han forgets his phone at Shin's. Shin sees a message from Han's mother telling him to pick up Shia from school because Mr. Kim is not available to do so. Xian then calls Shia and tells her to wait, as she will send someone to pick her up. Shin deletes the message before Han comes back and notices. When Han returns home, Shin asks him about Shia and mentions that she sent him a message to pick her up. Han tells her that he didn't see any message. Shin insists that he should go find Shia and look for her. At that moment, Shin drives to pick up Shia in her car. Shia gets in because the cars look identical. However, she is shocked when she sees Shin inside and asks her what she's doing there. Shin says that Han asked her to pick her up and tells Shia that she needs to stay away from Han because she's not good enough for him. She insists that Han can never love Shia and that she's the perfect match for him, so he should love her instead. Shia tells her that she doesn't love Han at all, and if Shin wants him, she can have him. Shin insults Shia with her words, even mentioning Han's first love, and how she's the reason Han loves her because they share the same personality. Shin suggests that Han is just interested in Shia because of their similarities, not because of who she truly is. Meanwhile, Han arrives at the school and learns that Shia is with Shin in her car. Returning to Shin, she tells Shia that she's the only one who's right for Han. She claims to have done everything to win Han's love, but she's still far from him. However, she promises to change herself to make him love her, and that she won't give up. Shia, scared by Shin's obsession, asks her to let her out, but Shin stops in a deserted place with no one around. Han, however, manages to find them because Shia sent him the location. When he finds her, Han tells her the place was difficult to reach, which is why he was late. He then takes her with him in the car, scolding her for getting into Shin's car and not noticing the difference between the two cars. Shia defends herself, saying it's not her fault that Shin is crazy about Han and wants to copy everything he likes. Afterward, Han drives her to his family's hotel, and Shia is scared and refuses to go in with him. But he reassures her that it's a family hotel, and everyone here knows them, so she shouldn't embarrass him by refusing to come in. She asks why they didn't just go to his house. Han explains that his mother might do something to her if they went home. Shia, convinced by his explanation, agrees to go inside. They go up to Han's room, where he asks Shia to take a shower and change into something comfortable. He then calls his mother to reassure her that he's found Shia, and they're just waiting for the rain to stop before going out for dinner. He tells Shia to relax and rest while she waits. They will be back soon. Of course, Han's mother is not intervening and tells him not to try to upset her. Shia then gives him her clothes to wash, but Han asks for clothes for her. Afterward, Han goes to talk to her while she's taking a shower. He confesses his love for her, saying that he can't stop thinking about her since the first day they met, a day he'll never forget. He tells her not to worry about anything Shin said because he doesn't love her and never has. However, Han notices that Shia is not responding, and he starts to worry that something might have happened to her. He goes inside to check on her, and she screams when she sees him, continuing to insult him. Then there's a knock on the door, and it's room service, bringing Shia's clothes. She finds something odd in the clothes, so she gets upset with Han. He asks her if she heard anything he said, but she didn't because the room is soundproof. Han is frustrated because he has to repeat everything. After Shia finishes changing, she asks Han to take her home, but he insists that she eat first. She refuses, saying she just wants to go back immediately. When she returns home, she finds Xian waiting for her. Shia is about to go to sleep, but Han's mother asks to speak with her. Xian sits down to talk about Han, saying she knows he's been bothering her, but he wasn't always like this. She tells Shia that Han used to be shy, kind, and introverted. He didn't have any friends, and the only people he associated with were because of his status. But Yang's family, his first love, was almost on the same level as theirs. That's why Han got to know Yang and fell in love with her. They were inseparable and promised each other they'd always be together. But something happened to Yang's family that forced them to leave, leaving Han heartbroken. Since then, he became cold and unable to love anyone. However, Xian feels that Han has changed since Xia entered their house. Xia asks if the reason for his change is because they resemble each other, but Xian assures her that she's much better than Xia. She asks her to treat Han kindly, because he's a good person who hides his feelings. Xian believes that she can be the one to change him. She wants to get closer to him and treat him well, but she is also unsure and afraid of getting hurt in a relationship with him, especially since she's now all alone in the world. Xia goes to her old neighborhood, to a place she loves, and writes on the wall that she'll be Han's shadow to help him achieve his dreams, because she also wants to fulfill her own dreams. She wants to leave their house and become independent. As she's about to leave, she's Benj with some of his friends. One of the girls confesses her love to him, saying she's told him before, but he didn't respond. Benj replies that she knows he loves someone else and that he's mentioned it to her multiple times. She says she knows it's Xia, but it's unrequited love. Xia is shocked by this confession because she always treated him like a brother and never thought of him that way. She decides to change her perspective on Han and give him a chance because she had only been thinking of herself, and that's why she never felt love. She didn't know how Han felt either. She returns to the wall and writes that everyone has an old wound, and someone needs to help them heal. Xia then goes to the school clinic to help Maria, but she's distracted and not focused on what she's doing. Maria notices this and continues talking to her while Xia doesn't pay attention. After the patient leaves, Maria asks her what's wrong. Xia asks if Maria has ever loved anyone and what it feels like to love. Maria laughs and says it seems like Xia has fallen for Han and that it's obvious on her face, but Xia denies it, saying she meant that the pain of separation can be really intense. Maria agrees, of course, and asks if Xia has never loved anyone before. Xia replies that if her mother's feelings count, then yes, she's loved. Maria then says that any love between two people or between family is still love, because there's always separation afterward. Maria then shares a story about a shy Japanese boy who loved her when she was in college, but Xia interrupts and says she already knows the story because Maria has told it before. Maria insists, telling her not to interrupt if she wants to hear the rest. This was someone else, not the first one. Xia jokes, saying that it seems like all Japanese guys are shy. But Maria, who's blushing, continues talking about how she rejected his love. After that, he married someone else. She was the one who introduced them. Anyway, Maria continues telling Xia the story, and we can conclude that she remained single until now. So there wasn't much of an important takeaway from it. Nan calls Xia because the first class is about to start. In the classroom, the girls are discussing the school's beauty pageant, and Jia is going to participate, along with some other girls who have no chance. She tells Xia to join too, or no one will be in the last place. Obviously, she's mocking her. Then Mr. Ma arrives with the sports exam grades and tells Xia that she got the highest score in the class. She's thrilled, and the whole class congratulates her, but then he shocks her by saying he's going to expel her because she cheated. Xia protests, saying she didn't cheat, but he tells her that someone like her, coming from a poor, low-status school, couldn't possibly score so high unless she cheated from someone smart in the class. He says that's why he's going to punish her by expelling her. Xia refuses the punishment and asks to retake the exam alone with him as the invigilator. He agrees to this challenge, but if she fails, she'll still be expelled. He's sure she'll fail, and rumors about the challenge spread through the school. Xia takes the exam again under Mr. Ma's supervision, and her classmates talk among themselves, certain that she didn't cheat because they are all worse than her. They know that no one could have helped her cheat because they all know their failures. When she finishes the exam, Mr. Ma corrects it, but notices that Xia solved the problems differently. In the end, she still got the right answers. He tells her she lost a point, and when she asks why, he explains it's because she solved it in her own way. She protests, saying that she still got the right answers, but he says her classmates are all failures and will remain like that. She tells him the problem isn't with them, but with his teaching. She says if she taught them, they would all score like her. He challenges her to make them pass in 15 days. Xia accepts the challenge and says that in 15 days, their class will be #1 in the district. However, her classmates are doubtful. Mr. Ma leaves her in charge of the class, but tells her that if she fails, she has to leave. Xia gets up to teach her classmates and says an encouraging word to them, but they're all uninterested and refuse to study. She feels trapped with them. Later, there's an etiquette class with Amina Shalabaya, who teaches them how to eat with a fork and knife, but Shin keeps mocking Xia, saying she doesn't know how to use them, and taunts her for being from a poor background. eating with her hands. Meanwhile, they, from a rich background, eat with their forks and knives. A small argument breaks out, but it's resolved quickly. Shia then goes back to the gym class, preparing to teach her classmates. They're still not paying attention, so she tries to motivate them by asking where their dignity is, where their self-respect is, where their spirit of trying is. But they're still uninterested, saying they like to lose with honor because they know they're terrible at sports and are not cut out for first place. Shia leaves with Nana to go home, feeling frustrated with the class and almost certain she'll be expelled. But Nana tries to encourage her, saying they still have time, and maybe the class just isn't used to succeeding, but they should try again. When they get home, Shia is visibly upset, and Nana decides to take her out to cheer her up, though Shia doesn't want to go. They force her, and they end up at an arcade. Benj plays with Shia and asks her what's bothering her. He wonders if it's because of Han's family and how they treat her. She tells him no. The problem is with her class, and she doesn't know how to control them. She talks to him about the agreement she made with her mother. He advises her to use force, saying that anyone who doesn't listen should be punished immediately. He gives her direct advice. Meanwhile, Jie is in the same arcade, trying to impress everyone with his dancing, and everyone is amazed by him. Nan is standing, watching him, when another young man steals from her. She screams, shouting, "Thief!" Jiang hears her and stops his dance, running after the thief. She runs after him, and Shia sees them and chases them as well. Everyone is running after each other. Jiang manages to corner the thief outside the store. He takes the phone from him and hands it to the police officer who is standing there, but the officer is completely unaware. Jiang then goes over to give the phone to Nan, who is distracted and not paying attention. Shia reaches them and thinks Jiang is the thief, so she slaps him. He gets angry and tells her that he caught the thief. Nan takes him and walks away to treat his wound. The next day at school, there's a new student in their class who is from America. I'm sure you know who it is by now, right? Yes, it's Jiang, and Nan is still distracted by him. Shia enters to start the class and decides to take Feng's advice. She tells the class that she'll explain the lesson more than once, but by the third time, if they don't solve the problems correctly, everyone will have to run 30 laps around the school. Jiang interrupts them, saying he wants to sleep. Shia walks up to him and says, "Looks like you didn't learn your lesson yesterday." He tells her that he's learned, but she's no one to teach him. Shia responds, saying, "Since you've transferred to our class, you'll follow our rules, no questions asked." He challenges her, saying he might accept learning from her, but only on one condition. She must read 2 books in 2 days. She puffs up, saying she'll finish them in 1 day, but if she does that, everyone promises to study and improve in sports. Shia goes home and tries to read the books, noticing that Han is watching her. She tells him not to interfere with her today because she has to finish the books. She explains the agreement she made with her mother and tells him that she knows he wishes she would disappear from his life, but she must lose with her dignity. The next day at school, Shia gives Jiang the books and tells him she's finished reading them. He asks her about them, and she answers all the questions correctly. Shia then tells the class that they must keep their promise and study hard. Everyone agrees to support her, but instead of studying, they pretend to study, to the point where Rim might succeed. Shia tells him to study harder, assuring him that she will succeed. She tells her friends to study, or she will be the one who suffers. Shia is exhausted from the pressure and ends up falling asleep in the car due to fatigue. Shia's friends decide to study seriously. They even study in the bathroom. Dai hears them and learns about the agreement between Ma and Shia. If she loses, she'll be expelled from school. Dai is pleased with the information she has gotten easily, and you can guess what she plans to do next. She's going to inform Shin about what she heard. Shin is surprised because she knows that Class B is a failure and they'll never win, as their class always comes first every year. It's impossible for Class B to succeed easily. She also plans to inform Han, who always takes first place, to prevent them from winning. Meanwhile, Shia is in the class explaining the lesson to the students. Jiang calls her to explain it to him. At that moment, Han enters with Ling. Han tells Shia to go apologize to Mama and that he will handle things, ensuring she won't be expelled. But Shia refuses and says that he's trying to stop them from succeeding. Ling tells her that Han is actually trying to help her this time, but she still refuses, saying she will continue with the challenge. Han challenges her to beat him. He asks Jia to call Mao so that Mao can be the judge between them. The exam begins between the two of them, with Ma as the judge. They finish the test and Ma announces that both of them got the same grades but declares Han as the winner. Everyone protests, claiming it's biased. Ma doesn't give Shia the papers, but tells her to figure it out herself. Shia realizes that Han solved the problems in 2 ways, while she only solved them correctly in 1 way. She admits that she lost to Han and leaves the room feeling sad. Ling follows her to try to comfort her. She tells him that she feels frustrated, that everyone is against her, and that she no longer understands Han's personality. He seems like a spoiled student who doesn't study, but he's the complete opposite. Ling tells her that Han's old shock changed him and made him the way he is now, no longer caring about anyone except himself. However, he promises to stay by her side and help her teach the other students. Her friends come to her and tell her that they're with her and will do everything they can to succeed so she can win. Ma notices this when he passes by and sees Class B studying. He observes them and realizes they've changed. He's surprised that Shia was able to change them so quickly because she succeeded in what he failed to do. Everyone is trying to study to pass, except Nan, who's focused on the boys and is unsure whom to choose. They can't stand her, but Shia advises her to focus on her future. Shia goes to the library, and Jiang tries to get closer to her, but Han sees them and gets jealous. Shia teases him by saying that Jiang is her friend. Han talks to someone on the phone to get information about Jiang. Jiang silently promises to not leave him alone since he decided to get close to Shia and will face whatever happens. Shia continues studying at home while Han keeps watching her. Even when she's eating, she's still studying. Some of her classmates call her to ask for the answers to the problems, to the point where Han gets annoyed by how often she's being called. The next day in class, Jiang asks Shia if she's heard about the school's beauty contest. She says yes, but the exam is more important. He suggests that she should join to annoy Shin, but she says it would be mockery because she wouldn't win. He tells her that Sia and Chie joined, so why not her? The girls grab him by the ears and ask him what he meant. At this moment, Nan enters and saves him from their grip, seizing the opportunity to get closer to him. Shia realizes that Jiang didn't do the homework himself, but had someone else do it for him. She returns the homework to him, telling him that he needs to solve it himself. He tells her that if she promises to join the contest, he will study and try hard. Shia agrees, saying, "Deal. But you study." She takes the class and runs with it, and the students start studying. Both Shia and Shin are surprised by their behavior, not believing that the class is taking things seriously. The exam day arrives, and the school holds the test. After a while, the results come out, and Rim is very happy that they passed. Shia and Shin are confused as to why they're so happy. Rim asks Zai to check the results and confirm Han's ranking. However, Zai is shocked to see that Class B surpassed them and came first in the school. But they didn't come first in the district, which means Shia will be expelled from school. Shin is happy because someone got a yellow mark in their class, though she doesn't know what that means. But we can skip that and focus on the fact that Shia failed and will have to face Mama. Meanwhile, Mama is with Maria checking on her injury. She reassures him that she's fine and the injury has disappeared. However, they talk about Shia and the competition between them, and Maria mentions that she found out Shia lost. Mama says yes, but he's not happy. She asks him why. He tells her that he wants to see all the students succeed. Maria tells him that Shia is a special girl. She doesn't necessarily have to follow the rules to be diligent. She gives him an example with a wall that's empty and a wall with a picture on it. The first one is just a wall, but the second one is special because of the picture, even though it's still a wall in the end. It's our perspective of things that changes. In other words, he needs to change his perspective on Shia because she's a special girl. She succeeded in making a big change in the students. Han asks her if she wants him to not expel her, but she says no and tells him to decide what he will do. However, she meant to make him understand that Shia succeeded, but only from her perspective. Han is sitting with Ling, who asks him to help Shia. Han tells him that he would do anything for her. Ling then asks if he's helping because of her or because of Shia. Han answers that of course he's helping because Ling is his friend, but Ling says that despite everything they did, Shia lost to Ma, which means she might get expelled. Han says that he'll take care of Ma. Meanwhile, Shia goes to Ma and admits that she lost. Ma asks if she's ready for punishment. She says yes, but then Shia's class comes in and begs Ma not to expel her. Ma tells them that he has no intention of expelling her, but he has another way to punish her. He warns them that if they don't leave his office immediately, he will expel them all. Later, Mama asks Shia, "How do you see me?" He asks her if she sees him as a bad person. He tells her that every teacher's dream is to see their students succeed, and she made that dream come true for him. She did what he couldn't do. He then asks her if she's ready for real punishment. She tells him that she's ready for any punishment he gives her. He then says her punishment is to be responsible for Class B, meaning she will continue teaching them so that they can be better. Shia is happy that Mama has finally agreed with her. She promises to always be trustworthy and take on the responsibility. She leaves Mama's office with a smile and finds the three boys waiting for her. Each of them is trying to get her attention, but she stops them and tells them she is free and belongs to no one. Just because they're rich doesn't mean they can control her. She arrives at the class, and everyone runs when they see her. She hands Xia a letter from Teacher Tian, but Nan asks where Ling and Jiang went. Xia tells her that as soon as they saw her, they left. She takes the letter and reads it. Teacher Tian is reassuring her about his situation. He tells her that he's now learning painting and that the teacher has become a student. This experience allowed him to see the world in a different way. He also asks about her friends and says he'll be back soon because he misses arguing with her. After the class, everyone greets her and congratulates her for becoming the class president. She and Nan head to the playground and find the girls running to watch something. They see they were playing soccer, but they stop because the girls fought with them and don't want them around. However, Shin sticks close to one of them, and he embarrasses her by telling her to stop following him. Shin then has no one else to take her anger out on except for Xia, so she decides to argue with her. When Jiang hears this from Nan, he runs after her to catch up with Xia. As soon as he gets there, he asks her if something is wrong. Shin responds, "You have many knights and everyone loves you, but I don't know why, even though I'm much prettier than you." Xia challenges her and says, "Let the competition decide between us." Afterwards, Xia goes back to the class and Jiang announces that she's entering the competition. Everyone cheers and encourages her. However, she tells them that she doesn't know anything about the competition or what she's supposed to compete in. Her friends reassure her that they will teach her everything she needs to know so she can win and beat Shin. Jiang keeps teasing her, and she starts feeling jealous. She gets upset and leaves the class. Xia asks about her afterward. She had left because she had genuinely fallen for Jiang, but he, like the others, loves Xia. After class, Xia goes to Maria for help. She tells her that she entered the beauty pageant, and Maria congratulates her, saying she supports her. However, Xia shocks her by admitting that she doesn't know anything about such competition. Maria tells her to highlight her beauty. Xia asks her what she means by highlighting beauty. Maria turns her around, looking for something, but eventually she gives up. She tells her, "You know what? Your heart is the most beautiful thing about you. I want you to show your kindness." Xia understands that she's probably going to lose, but Maria insists on teaching her how to apply makeup. Maybe something will help her stand out. Maria then spends time teaching Xia how to be fashionable. Ling, unsure when she signed up for the competition, takes her to the school rooftop where he has arranged a fashion show. He brought many dresses for her to choose from for the competition. If you ask me, is this normal in a school? I would say yes, but only in Korea. Xia, who is poor, rejects all the dresses and says she'll go shopping after school. She asks Ling if he can go with her since his taste is really good. At Xian's house, they're having lunch, but Xian notices that Xia is eating quickly. She tells her to slow down as no one will steal her food. Xia responds that she has an appointment and doesn't want to be late. Han enters and tells her he's going out at night and suggests she waits a little so they can go together. She informs him that Ling is going with her, so he's not needed. She leaves and leaves them behind. Han sits, still thinking. Xian tells him, "Are you still thinking? The girl will fly away from your hands. Go, chase after her." Han gathers himself and makes a call, asking Shin to go shopping with him. His mother tells him, "Finally, you understand." Han arrives at the shopping mall with Shin, who can't stand her. He keeps looking for Xia. Shin tries to grab his attention and convince herself that this is serious, not knowing where her dignity went. She keeps showing him outfits, but he doesn't seem to care. He says, "Nice, trust in God." She continues to cling to him, but he pushes her away. However, when he spots Xia coming from a distance, he grabs her hand immediately, thinking it'll make Shin jealous. Xia is with Ling, but they're not alone. Nan is trailing behind her and Jiang, acting like a child. The group meets, and Ling suggests the six of them go together. They enter the first store and start trying on clothes. Everyone is focused on Xia, leaving the other two behind. However, Shin manages to annoy Xia, who finds the clothes expensive. Xia tells her to go somewhere else to buy because this store is too pricey for her. But Xia responds, "If you're used to shopping there, go ahead, you." They continue trying on dresses, but the guys don't like anything. Finally, they find one style they all like, and everyone agrees except Han, who says no. Jiang and Ling give him a look, meaning, "You're going to say no?" They want to leave, and Han finally agrees. While leaving the mall, Nan sees an advertisement for a haunted house. She insists on going in and convinces everyone. The group enters, and the owner explains the rules of the game. The game is divided into several rooms, but the most important rule is that no one is allowed to harm the staff. They enter, and it's dark. Everyone is scared. Xia asks Han if he's scared, and he says no. Suddenly, scary figures appear, and they separate from each other. Han and Xia get separated from the group. Xia asks Han if he's scared. He replies, "I told you, I'm not scared." She then says, "Then why are you holding my hand?" She feels embarrassed, and Han is also a bit awkward. The rest of the group finds the key but goes back to look for Han and Xia, who are stuck in a room and can't find a way out. Han tries to light the place for Xia, but ends up showing her a collection of star pictures he took with his telescope. Xia recalls all the times they spent together, especially when Han saved her more than once. They both get lost in each other's presence, and just as Han is about to get closer to her, a scary figure appears, and they both fight it off. They finally manage to escape, knocking out the entire crew. If it weren't for the man's warning, they would have been kicked out. They return home, where Xian welcomes them and tells Xia that she knows about her participation in the competition. She says she intends to help her because she's won it multiple times. Han stands behind Xian, wanting to say, "Stop lying," but he just leaves instead. Xian tells Xia about her glory days, but it's clear that Xia knows she's just being deceived. Xian says she'll teach Xia everything she knows about the competition. Xia thanks her and says, "I know. I'll manage." Xian tells her to stop by so they can pick out an outfit together before leaving to deal with the burnt bread. Now we move to Han, who's taking a shower but can't find his hair conditioner. He goes to look for it in Xia's room, where her outfit for the competition is lying on the bed. He enters and finds the conditioner, but accidentally spills it on Xia's clothes. Trying to clean it, he makes it worse. Xia arrives at an inconvenient moment and sees him, scolding him for entering her room without permission. They argue about the clothes, and Xian walks in, misunderstanding the situation as usual. Like every time, she leaves without saying anything. Next, we see Xia going to her favorite place, where she finds a person who had been encouraging her. He left her a message saying he fixed the cat plate. She leaves him a note asking his name. Then, she meets a girl who seems to have fallen for Kai but looks sad. He finds out it's because of the competition. He offers to help her by fixing her hair. The mysterious person, of course, is Han. He leaves Xia a message saying her question is old. She responds asking if they can meet and get serious about it. She walks away, and Han goes back to pick up the chain he dropped. There's a brief scene where Ying, Han's ex-girlfriend, returns to the country. It's not relevant to the story, so we go back to Xia, who starts preparing for the competition. The competition begins, and she enters, showcasing her hair, and the crowd applauds. They all perform, and everyone claps. It's clear that the production quality is very low. Next comes the talent show. As you can see, but not hear, Xin can play an instrument, while Xia can dance. The talent show ends, and Xia reflects on her friend's support. This marks the first round of the competition, and the next day at school, Xin can't let it go. She has to bully Xia and tell her she'll lose in the second round. Jiang comes to Xia's defense, but when he leaves to rest, Xin tells Xia that she has fallen for Jiang. Xia laughs and tells her, "Sweetheart, you fall for anyone who passes by as long as they're a guy." Xin insists that this time it's for real, and she's going to help her win first place. Xia goes to her class and finds it filled with flowers and gifts for her. She asks Rim to take them outside and throw them away. We reach the final round of the competition. Xin enters and gives her speech. True beauty is inside the heart, not the outward appearance. Come on, say something different. Then Xia enters, ready to respond, and it looks like she's setting a trap to embarrass Xia in front of the audience. Xia goes out to the stage to deliver her speech. She starts telling the audience about her life, which changed after her mother's death. But suddenly, a video starts playing behind her, showing footage of her selling clothes, and she looks disheveled. Jiang tries to stop it, but can't. Xia continues with her speech, explaining how she lived with her mother in a poor house without a father, and with a sick mother. Even the neighborhood kids used to bully her. That's why she decided to take the appearance they see now. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to survive in this jungle, where no one shows mercy to the weak. Since she became this way, everyone started fearing her, and no one dared to harm her mother. Everything she's been through is the result of the harsh world that forced her to become this way. The crowd applauds, and their respect for her grows. We find out that Xin cut Xia's dress, but Xia knows how to handle it. She goes to the storage room to look for sewing tools. Meanwhile, Han is looking for her and finds her, telling her there's no time, and that he'll buy her a new dress. She refuses and asks him to delay her performance. He tells her that the dress won't work for her performance and suggests that she sing his song. Although her voice isn't great, he says he can adjust it for her. Two people appear out of nowhere for Ling and take him away. Meanwhile, Lan is looking for Jiang to confess her love to him, but she's shocked to find him confessing his love to the wall. He's not confessing to the wall, but he's practicing for Xia. Unfortunately, Nan overhears and for the first time, we see her cry. It seems like she really loves him. During this time, Xia gets a call from an unknown person who wants to meet her. Han continues playing his music until Xia finishes. As soon as she steps onto the stage, he stops playing and tells her, "Today is a special day, and I have to confess my feelings to you." Finally, the stone will speak, but as he's about to confess, a girl steps forward and reveals her face. It turns out to be Ying, Han's ex-girlfriend. Xia, with her short hair, is revealed to be the one the audience thought was Ying, but she's clearly different. The others ask, "Who is she?" Xia, at that moment, steps outside the school, still on the phone. She asks the person on the other end where they are, as they told her they would arrange for her to meet her father. He tells her, "Keep driving to your right," and she notices a car following her. She slows down a bit to help them kidnap her, not realizing what's going on. Back to Jiang, still practicing his confession to the wall, not knowing how to confess to Xia. He gathers the courage to go to her, but when he does, Nan stands in front of him. She finds out that he knows she overheard his confession, but she manages to hide her sadness and acts as if it's fine. Han goes to search for Xia, but can't find her because she's in a kidnapped car. By pure coincidence, the car passes by Ling's car, which he hears and gets out to save her. He didn't know he had been kidnapped earlier, but just as he's about to catch up with Xia's car, another car hits him before he can reach her. He calls Han to inform him that Xia has been kidnapped. Han then informs Nan, and Nan tells Jiang. They all agree to meet up and act quickly. At that moment, Xia announces her withdrawal from the competition. Outside the school, for the first time, Nan asks a logical question. Where are we going to search for her? Han gives her the car description that Ling mentioned. Nan calls Feng, the leader of their group, and asks for help, as a group without a rogue is a group without a purpose. Feng leaves his love and heads out to search for the car. Meanwhile, Xia is trapped in a warehouse, but she manages to talk her kidnapper into letting her go. Feng finally tracks down the location of the car. They begin searching for her, but Xia is in Warehouse 3. The kidnapper turns out to be Gao, and he immediately explains his action. Gao tells Xia that his girlfriend, who was in love with Han, was kicked out of the school by him. She then became mentally unstable, and he found her on the streets and helped her. However, she is weak and wants to leave him to return to Han. Xia tells him that it's his own fault for falling for someone like that. Gao says that his intention is to take revenge on Han, because if she didn't matter to him, he wouldn't have come to look for her himself. Gao calls Han, telling him that they are in Warehouse 3, and asks him to come alone. Han tells the others to search for Xia, while he heads to Warehouse 3 to confront Gao. When Xia sees him, she calls him foolish and asks why he came. Doesn't he realize it's a trap? Han reassures her, telling her to stay where she is while he looks for Gao, but Gao shows up behind her with Xia in tow. Han says he will not leave them, but Gao proposes a simple deal: break his leg, and he'll let them go. Han agrees and breaks his own leg. The rest of the group enters and they tell Gao to let their friends go, but he refuses. However, they inform him that the police are on their way, and everyone takes off running, because in situations like this, running is the only real courage. Back at the competition, Shin wins because Xia withdrew. However, Shin says that the reason Xia withdrew is because she was kidnapped, and even the police are outside the school now. Shin starts feeling guilty and decides to return the prize, saying she should not have accepted it. Xia, on the other hand, is with Han, cleaning his wound. He winces in pain from the scratch. Xia apologizes, saying it was her fault, but Han insists it was his fault. He also says he lost the competition because of her and asks if she's upset. Xia, a bit shy, pauses for a moment before replying. Han jokes, saying he's not used to her being polite, and asks her if they can get serious and love each other, saying to forget the friendship part and just be together. Xia stays silent, which Han takes as a sign of consent. Before Han leaves, he tells her to wait for his response and not to take too long. Just then, Han receives a call, interrupting their moment. When he answers, he only says 3 words: "I don't care, I don't know," and "not interested," then hangs up. Xia asks who it was, and Han answers vaguely. The first female intervention happens when the caller is revealed to be Ying, standing outside Han's house. She remembers her conversation with Han during their graduation, and the promise they made to stay together forever. She walks away when she sees no solution. Han bids farewell to Xia, telling her it's getting late and she should sleep. Before leaving, he reminds her to think about his request. A teacher enters, announcing that the new student has arrived. It turns out to be Jiang's first love, Xiang. When she enters, she doesn't greet anyone except Xia. She even tells Xia that she hopes they can be friends. Xia, unimpressed, gives her a slight nod. She remembers what Jiang had said about Xiang. She's the girl who stole my son's heart. Xiang goes to the teacher to finalize her paperwork. It seems that she is the only one working in the school, as they've made her do every task. The teacher asks her why she returned, leaving her studies in America. She responds that a person must lose something to know its value. She tells him that she had no one there and had to come back. After finishing, she leaves. Xia meets with Xiang and asks her about the other servants in the house, mentioning how she got used to them and the environment, almost like she had been there. Jiang arrives and pulls Xia away from Xiang's grip. He asks her what she wants from Xia and introduces himself. Xiang comments that they seem like a good match for each other. Later, Jiang meets Feng, who asks him what he's doing at their school. Jiang explains that Xia's mother asked him to look after her before she passed away. Feng asks if Jiang is still in love with Xia, teasing him for running after her for an entire season while she doesn't even acknowledge him. He jokes about whether she'll notice him in the second season, hinting at the situation's absurdity, and it seems like the writer couldn't come up with anything else. Meanwhile, in Han's class, the students are talking about Xiang and her fame as a fashion designer. They all agree to visit her. Xin overhears their conversation with Ji, who tells her to calm down and says that she is better than Xiang. Xin doesn't speak, but Ji seems to sense some jealousy. Feng takes Jiang aside to give him some advice about love and girls. He hands him a notebook and says it contains his best thoughts on love. He tells Jiang that a girl like Xia needs someone smart, not someone as foolish as him. He suggests thinking outside the box if he wants her to like him. Jiang gets an idea, though it's a bit silly. Want to know what it is? Well, keep watching. Jiang enters the class with a confident attitude, telling everyone that Xia is now under his protection and that he has appointed himself as her personal bodyguard. He starts to push the students away from her. Rumors start spreading that Jiang is in love with Xia. Zi hears about it and relays the news to Xin, who asks Han why he treats Xia so harshly. She also asks if he knows that Jiang loves her. Han replies, saying yes, but that it's not his job to love her. Xin wonders if Han rejected her because Xiang returned, but Han denies it. She understands that it's because of Xia, but she's frustrated and still believes that Jiang likes her. Han walks away, leaving her behind. Meanwhile, Jiang follows Xia everywhere, scaring off anyone who tries to get close to her. Xia hits him for frightening people who talk to her, even if they mean well. She runs away from him, but he chases after her. Han is waiting for her, ready to go with her, and tells Jiang that if he wants to win her heart, he should learn from him. Han says that the best way to get a girl is to keep pursuing her. He gives Jiang a gift and tells him that girls love things like that. Jiang, however, ignores his advice and lets Xia go. Xia is still at the university and apologizes to Nan for Jiang's behavior. She promises to help them get closer because Nan has feelings for him. Nan asks Xia to help her get Jiang to notice her and feel something for her. Nan pretends not to care, saying she likes anyone who looks good. As Xia becomes distracted, 3 men corner her and forcefully take her away. She yells at them to let her go, but they shut her up to silence her. Later, Xia finds herself in a large house, arguing with the bodyguards. She hears a cough from an elderly man who speaks to her and says she's beautiful. She thinks to herself that the kidnapper this time is more gentlemanlike. She tries to act like a well-behaved lady, sitting with composure, but her intense glare towards the elderly man shows her inner frustration. The man goes to offer her water, and as she grabs his hand, Ling arrives and calls out to his grandfather. Xia pauses before she can strike the man and asks him what he's done. Jiang tells his grandfather that he wanted to know who hurt his grandson, and he thought she was just an ordinary girl. But now he sees that she's beautiful and strong. That's why he decided to marry them after they finished their studies. He orders one of his men to call the hall to book the wedding, another to book the flight tickets, and a third to reserve the hotel for their honeymoon. Xia asks him to slow down and wonders if marriage can happen that quickly. He responds, "Is there something wrong with that?" She explains that she's already in a relationship. Meanwhile, Nan calls Han to ask about her friend. Han thinks Xia is with her, but Nan denies it, saying the last time she left her with Jiang. Han then starts to worry that Jiang might have kidnapped Xia, so he rushes to find him. However, he runs into Jiang coming out of the house. Han asks him about Xia and tells him that he's worried because she isn't answering her phone. Jiang and Han are about to argue when a car arrives, and Xia, along with her grandfather and Ling, steps out. Xiang greets Xia and tells her that she's looking good. The grandfather says that they've come for a marriage proposal and dowry. Xia asks who the groom is, and the grandfather replies that he wants Xia for his grandson Ling. Both Xia and Jiang respond at the same time, saying no. Jiang then asks who he is, and the grandfather says it doesn't matter. Jiang insists that Xia can't marry Ling, and Xia agrees, saying that she's engaged to Han. But Jiang insists that he loves her, and that she should consider him her husband. Xiang interrupts, telling Jiang to wait while she deals with the grandfather. The grandfather insists that he knows about Xia's background, and all she needs to do is study. After finishing her studies, she will marry his grandson. His decision is final. Ling apologizes to Xia for his grandfather's action and suggests she go and rest because things are going to take time. He tells her he will let her know the outcome. Xia goes to her room and finds Han waiting for her. He asks why she didn't answer her phone, and she explains that she was silent and didn't hear it ring. Han asks if he's worried about her, but she replies that she's not the one who should be worried. She sarcastically asks if he's calling her ugly again, adding that he was the one who asked her to be his girlfriend yesterday. She tells him to leave so she can sleep and closes the door on him. The next day at school, Xia refuses to ride with Han. In class, Xiang tries to get closer to Han, but he dismisses her. Afterward, they go back to the house, and Han is clearly upset. Xiang asks Xia if he came to see her at school, and Xia confirms he didn't. Xiang seems happy that he changed his mind. Later, Xia arrives at Han's house, and Xiang doesn't want her there, but Xiang insists that she has brought gifts for everyone and begins to hand them out. Xia notices that it's getting late and asks Kim to escort Xiang home, worried that Han might see her. But Han does appear and asks Xiang what brought her there. He tells her that if she thinks he still loves her, she's mistaken. He's already forgotten about her, and it's better that she forgets him too. Xia stands outside, spying on them. Han leaves, telling Xia that he saw her, and asks her to come with him so he can treat his injury. The next day at school, they are in drama class. The teacher tells the students that if anyone fails, they will have to retake the course. The teacher starts assigning roles. Jiang gets the part of a stove, A-Man is a tree, and Han wants to switch roles, but the teacher says that anyone who objects to their role will fail the class. Meanwhile, Maria is at work and notices someone sneaking around the school. She tries to chase after him, but can't catch up. In the drama class, Shin tries to bother Jiang, but fails. Han goes to Xia to apologize, telling her that being upset will only make her grow up faster. Xia responds by asking if he's the one who called her ugly and made her feel old, and tells him that whatever they had is over. The drama class begins, and Xian and Zane are assigned roles. When it's Han's turn to speak, he takes the role of Ren. Ren tries to stop him, but he can't. Han starts mocking Xian and Zai, pretending to act. He seizes the opportunity to get rid of both old and new tensions. Xia tells him to stick to the script, or they'll all fail the subject, but he keeps going, and his acting impresses the teacher, who tells him to continue. Xian tries to cause trouble by tripping Xia, but she falls into her own trap and ends up being caught by Jiang. Everyone starts fighting, and Jiang goes after Xian, telling her to stop what she's doing. However, she tells him that this wasn't their agreement, and Xia overhears part of the conversation before walking away. From what she hears, she believes Jiang has been deceiving her and is in cahoots with Xian. The truth will come out soon, though, as Jiang had warned Xian to stay away from Xia. Nan doesn't stay silent and takes Xia to Jiang, calling him a traitor. Xia tells him she came there against her will. Jiang asks them why Xia said that, and she explains that she overheard him agreeing with Xian. However, Jiang clarifies that he was the one who was deceived by a girl from his old school, which is why he was expelled. Xian knows the truth because she's his cousin. Jiang is shocked to learn that Xian is his cousin, as no one in school knew. Afterward, Jiang stands in the middle of the city and confesses his love to Xia, but she pushes him into the water. Later, Xia gets in the car with Han, who is upset by Jiang's confession. Xia tries to make him feel better. Kim advises Han to give Xia a gift. She asks if he got her a gift and requests it from him. He reluctantly agrees, admitting that he didn't buy her anything. They later stop, and he reluctantly hands her the gift, thanking her for it. She then asks if he loves Jiang. He replies sarcastically, asking if she's blind. The next day at school, everyone knows about Jiang's situation, and they start treating him like royalty. When he enters the classroom, everyone tries to get close to him, even though they couldn't stand him before. Nan asks if Xia knows why this is happening, and she tells him that everyone found out who Jiang really is, so they changed how they treated him. Xia goes to class and asks Jiang to speak with her. She takes him outside and tells him that she doesn't like him and that he should look for someone else who loves him. He responds that he expected this answer, just like in a novel. That's why he will keep pursuing her until she agrees. Xia doesn't know how to get rid of him. Next, they have a sports class where they meet Feng, who seems to be working at the school now. Then we see Xian trying to get close to Xia, but Nan warns her about Xian. She suspects that it might be a trick to cause trouble for Xia, but Xia insists that Xian seems kind and harmless. Meanwhile, Feng talks to Jiang and gives him advice on how to win Xia's heart. Jiang asks why Feng is helping him, and Feng explains that he doesn't like Han and is not comfortable around him. He wants to make sure Xia is okay, and he knows Jiang fits the requirements, so he decided to help him. During the game, the students find Maria has knocked someone down. When asked how, she explains that a needle did the trick. They ask if he's the same person who is sneaking around the school, and she confirms it. They reveal his face, and everyone is shocked when they find out it's Tian. He is taken to the clinic, and they question him about why he didn't say anything earlier. Maria then asks why he's dressed like that, and he explains that he was studying the art of stealth and wanted to try it on them. However, it seems that this isn't the whole truth, and the rest will come to light later. They ask Tian if he plans to return to teaching, and he says he's not sure if the principal will allow it. Jiang then enters the room and tells them that he will have his father take care of it. Xia is happy to hear that Tian will return, and Jiang can't wait to impress Xia. At home, Xian informs Xia about Tian's return, and she wants to throw him a welcome party. Xia offers to host it at her house, and Xia is happy that it will be a good place, and that everything will be well prepared. Tian returns to class, and everyone is happy to see him back. They all welcome him warmly. Xia asks Tian to stay with them and teach until they graduate. Tian thanks Jiang for helping him return this time. The first thing Tian hands out are the dance class grades, and Xia fails, which makes her upset. When Jiang finds out, he wants to help her, but she refuses, so he advises Han to find a professional to help Xia instead. At Han's house, he's sitting, stargazing, when he hears a noise and goes to check, thinking it's a thief, but he finds it's Xia, practicing to retake her exam. When he learns that she failed, he tells her he will teach her, so Han spends the whole night teaching her to dance. However, when she returns from school, she's exhausted and almost falls asleep. When Jiang calls her, she tells him to let her rest because she's tired and wants to sleep. Xia goes to sit with Tian, who thanks her and Nan for looking out for him. He says he doesn't want a welcome party, but Xia insists, saying that Xian will take care of it. Tian thinks to himself that they're going to be exposed. Meanwhile, Xia and Nan are deciding what gift to get Tian, and Xian comes to help them. She suggests that since Tian is interested in painting, a painting would be the best gift. Xia thanks her and invites her to the party, and she agrees. After Xian leaves, Xia warns Nan to be cautious of her. The welcome party begins and everyone arrives. Teacher Tian thanks them for the party. Then it's Maria's turn to give Tian his gift and asks him to open it. Suddenly Jiang enters and sits next to Xia, making Han burn with jealousy. After they finish eating, they go outside. Tian thanks Maria for the gift, but she's upset and feels like he's hiding something from her. While they're talking, Han's mother enters and tells everyone to choose a dance partner. We then discover that Han's mother is the nosy one who always listens in on them. She overheard them practicing yesterday and exposed them. Jiang is eager to ask Xia to dance, but Han pushes him aside, telling him that since she lives in his house, he will dance with her instead. Meanwhile, Tian is still offering to dance with Maria, but she's about to take his hand to dance. Suddenly, a girl runs up to Tian and hugs him. It turns out her name is Crystal, Tian's crush. She explains that when Tian was in America, he saved her from some people who tried to steal from her, and since then, she has fallen in love with him. She considers herself his fiancé. We also learn that Crystal's father is one of the 10 richest people in the world. So everyone congratulates Tian, calling him lucky. Maria gets upset and decides to leave, and soon everyone else leaves, ending the party. The next day, we find Jiang upset and asleep, and Xia goes to check on him. Feng asks what happened, and Xia tells him that Jiang was upset because Xia danced with Han. We also learn that Feng told Nan that Jiang is trying to find a specialized literature teacher for Xia, since she's struggling with the subject. He asks her not to tell Xia because he wants to surprise her. Later, Han talks to Tian, noticing that he seems distracted and isn't answering Crystal's calls. He asks if Tian loves Maria, and we find out that Tian does love her, but doesn't know how to confess, and he also doesn't know how to tell Crystal that he doesn't love her. Afterward, we find Han taking Xia out for coffee and skipping a literature class. She says she'll treat him, but he asks for expensive things. She tells him to order something cheaper, as if he pays, she'll pay him back, but it will remain a debt. This reminds him of something Xian used to say to him. Suddenly, Xian enters and sits between them, noticing that Han ordered the same dish Xia used to like, and that he hasn't changed his old habits. Han leaves without acknowledging her. Xia tells Xian that Han is always like that, moody, and she has gotten used to his behavior. Later, Jiang tells Feng that Xia likes Han, which is why she agreed to let him teach her dance, but not him. Feng advises Jiang that he needs to spend more time with her to bring them closer. Jiang then asks Xia, who's walking with Nan, if they can visit his family's summer house together, but she rejects him and embarrasses. He walks away upset. Nan scolds Xia for hurting him since he was trying to help her and even looked for a literature teacher for her. Xia feels guilty, and when she tries calling Jiang, his phone is off. Xia calls Feng to help get in touch with Jiang. Even though Jiang says he doesn't know where he is, he lies to her. He tells her that he doesn't know where he is and asks her about what happened. She explains everything to him. He tells her that he comes from a wealthy family and isn't used to being treated like that, so he might do something to himself if she refuses his offer. She tells him she's calling him to accept his offer, but his phone is off. Jiang then tells her he's available and knows she's accepted his offer, and there's no turning back. The next day, Xia arrives with Nan and Xian. They get in the car and head out. At school, Crystal is looking for Tian and asks Maria about him. Maria tells her she hasn't seen him and advises her to stop chasing after him since he doesn't love her. This is clear from his actions and his avoidance of her. But Crystal insists that if someone loves another, they will chase after them until they convince them of their love. If Maria gives up easily, she shouldn't have loved him in the first place. Maria then understands that she must hold on to her love for Tian and confess her feelings to him first. Now we see Jiang, Xia, Nan, and Xian arriving at the farm. Dai takes pictures of them without them noticing and posts them in the school group. Of course, everyone talks about how Xia was with Han, and now after Xian returned, Xia commented. When Tian sees this, he rushes to Xia. Later, Feng had booked 2 rooms but tried to book 2 more, but the hotel was fully booked. Dai arrives and annoys them, but Xia tells Feng that she and the girls will stay in one room together. They then go to the cafeteria, where Jiang orders the food Xia likes. He tells her that Feng is the one who told him about her favorite food. Suddenly, Han enters and explains that he was feeling down left and coincidentally ran into them. Xia asks when Han should leave, and Han gets upset, asking if she doesn't want him there. Xia replies that she just wants to make sure he's okay since it's dangerous on the road at night, and there are no rooms available. They agree that Han will sleep in the same room as Jiang. In the room, Jiang and Han keep arguing about who will sleep on the bed. Han tells Jiang that he can sleep anywhere because he's the one who will sleep on the bed. After Han sleeps, Jiang goes to sleep next to him. Eventually, Jiang manages to make Han leave the room in his own way. When Han exits, he finds Xia standing outside. He talks to her and learns that she came to spend time with her friends, not because of Jiang. He's happy to hear that. Xia tells him that her relationship with Jiang is not what others say, and then she tries to convince him to fix his relationship with Xian. But Han gets upset and leaves because he feels she doesn't understand his feelings for her. Xia knows that he loves her, but she always feels like she's not good enough for him, and that Xian is more suitable for him. The next day, everyone gathers for a barbecue. Jiang goes to help Han, but Han stops him, embarrassing Jiang. Of course, Jiang seizes the opportunity to have Xia argue with Han. Xia asks Han to accept her rejection, and they both get upset with each other. Han leaves, and Xian follows him. Later, Nan goes to tend to Jiang's injury. Afterward, Nan warns Xia about Xian again and tells her to stop helping her and go back to Han. Nan tells her to stop lying to herself because she loves Han and to give herself a chance to love him. If she doesn't love Han, then she should accept Jiang's love for her. Xia gets upset and storms off. We go back to Xian, who's walking behind Han. He tells her not to follow him, but she tells him he's changed toward her. She insists that the change isn't because of her and that if he's upset, he should take his anger out on her but not ignore her. Han says that she left him without telling him anything, and he waited for her, trusted her, but she never returned. Xian tries to reconcile with him, explaining that she won't do that again. We see Xia walking, and Z is walking behind her. Then, Xia hears someone asking for help. She looks for the source of the sound and enters a small room, but Z locks her inside. Will Xia be able to escape on her own, or will Han come and rescue her? Stay tuned till the end. Xian saw Di locking the door on Xia but refused to help her. Di tells her that they could work together to get Xia out of Han's life, but Xian refuses and tells her that these tricks are old. Di tells her she's not afraid of Han finding out that Xian refused to help, to which Xian replies, "You're only exposing yourself as the one who locked her inside." Dai walks away, leaving Xian behind. Later, Jiang asks Nan about Xia, but Nan says she doesn't know. He calls her, but her phone is off. Han gets angry at Jiang for not taking care of Xia. They then split up to search for her. Nan and Jiang check the cameras while Han goes off alone to look for her, refusing to let Xian come with him. Xia decides not to give up and tries to escape on her own. She starts kicking the door with her feet to open it. Han, walking by, hears the sound of the door knocking and realizes she's inside. He tries to open the door, but it's locked. He calls Jiang to bring something to unlock it. Han talks to Xia until Jiang arrives. Xia starts talking about her childhood and how she had to protect her mother. She apologizes for talking to him about Xian and says she was just trying to ease his past frustration. They reconcile and decide to open the door. As soon as Xia steps out, she immediately hugs Han. She promises not to hurt him again. They leave together. Jiang asks Han if he loves Xia, but Han refuses to answer. Jiang then realizes that Han loves Xia and won't let anyone else have her. Han takes Xia and they go back home. The next day, Xia goes to school and finds that Ling has returned. She asks him how he's doing and how his hand is. He says he's fine, but his grandfather is always asking about her. Xia tells Ling that she plans to visit his grandfather soon to apologize for not visiting him. Ling tells her that his grandfather is throwing a party to celebrate his recovery and has asked him to invite her. Ling offers to take her there at the end of the week, and she agrees. Later, we see Ling talking to Han and trying to fix his relationship with Xian because Han is unsure about his true feelings for Xian. He's unsure whether he still cares for Xian or not, and his actions affect Xia, so Han decides to improve his treatment of Xian. When he sees her exhausted, he takes her to the school clinic, but Maria tells him that Xian needs a full checkup, which isn't available at school, so she must go to the hospital. Xian thanks him for taking her to the clinic and for forgiving her and talking to her. She thought he would never forgive her, but he tells her not to tire herself out and says he'll leave now because class is about to start. Meanwhile, Tian goes to Maria in the clinic, but he doesn't find her. He calls her, but he finds her phone left behind in the clinic. When he goes to check, he finds it near some papers, and one paper falls from beneath them. It turns out to be a medical specialization certificate in Maria's name. Maria enters and tells him not to look through her things because that's an invasion of her privacy. He asks her if she really plans to leave and specialize abroad, as the certificate indicates a scholarship for studying overseas. But Maria tells him he has no right to interfere with her life, and she's already waited too long. Tian begs her not to go and leave him because he's realized her value. He can't lose her because he loves her, and he's willing to fight the world for her. He admits that he's reckless and irresponsible, but he promises to change for her and take responsibility. Maria tells him that Crystal loves him and that he needs to be with her. She says Crystal might suffer if he leaves her. Tian, however, says that he's been around and seen many girls, but he's certain that no one else has taken over his heart like she has. If she agrees not to leave and stay with him, he'll change for her. Maria remains silent, not answering him. He thinks she's rejected him, but she finally says that convincing her won't be that easy, and that he has only 3 months to persuade her not to. It's not a lot of time. Only 3 months. Afterwards, they make up. Just as they're about to talk further, someone walks in, misunderstanding the situation. Yes, it's Crystal, who calls him a traitor. She says she should have listened to her father when he warned her that men are unreliable, and she bursts into tears, running out. Maria tells Tian to go after her before she harms herself. He runs after her, and as she runs out, she accidentally bumps into the teacher, Mom, who immediately falls for her. It seems like Crystal has a tendency to fall for anything Chinese. Later, we see Xia having lunch with Ling's grandfather, and she's done all the dishes. The grandfather asks her if she wants dessert, but she says she's fine. He then tells her that he knew from Ling that she likes fashion design, and he tells her that Ling's grandmother used to design clothes. He offers her to look at them. Xia agrees because she could learn a lot from them. They go to sit in the living room, and the grandfather brings out an old box. He shows her the clothes of his wife. He says that even though they're old, they were full of life. Xia tells him they are beautiful designs, but as she's looking at them, a torn photo falls out. When she looks at it, she realizes it's a picture of her mother. She asks the grandfather why he has a picture of her mother and if they were connected. He tells her that he had a feeling from the start that she was his daughter because she resembled her mother when she was young. He tells her that he and her mother were old friends, and Xia asks him to tell her more about it. He agrees to share the story. Meanwhile, at Han's, Xian talks to him and says that there's an astronomy exhibition, and she managed to get 2 tickets for them with difficulty. She mentions that astronomy is Han's favorite subject. Han tells her he will think about it and might come. We return to Xia, who finishes with her grandfather. But before she leaves, she asks him if he knows her father. He tells her he doesn't, but her mother once mentioned that he lived in Guizhou, a place that was her mother's lover's hometown. She leaves, and Ling offers to take her home. He tells her that if she wants to cry or talk, he's there for her, but she tells him no. She gets out of the car and walks off, lost in thought, so much so that she doesn't notice Xian calling her. She enters her room and decides to search for her father. She goes to Han to ask for his help, but he's out, so she doesn't want to tell him. She gathers her things to leave, but before she leaves the house, she leaves a note saying she's staying at Nam's house. She then goes out, catches a taxi, and leaves. Han later goes to call her for lunch, but he gets no response. He enters the room to look for her, but he finds the note and realizes she's gone. He sees a train ticket that she dropped and goes outside to search for her. Meanwhile, she looks for the ticket but can't find it. She asks the taxi to take her back home. When they reach the house, Han is waiting outside. He stops her and accuses her of trying to escape and leave the house. He also accuses her of planning to run away with Jang, but she yells at him and says she's going to search for her father. She tries to enter the house to look for the ticket, but Han stops her and forces her into the taxi. He tells her that he's coming with her to search for her father. During this time, she's waiting for him and calls him, but he tells her he won't come. She tells him to wait for her, but he insists he can't come and that it's better for her to go back. He finishes the call, but she suddenly feels weak and falls to the ground. Han is still on his way to Guizhou. Xia tells him she wants to go back and not continue, but he reassures her that he'll stay with her until she finds her father. Then he gets a call informing him that Xian is unwell and they can't reach her family, so they called him since she was the last person she spoke to. Han wants to call Kim to go to her, but Xia convinces him that he must go to her. She tells him that she's been waiting for 10 years, and it won't change in just one day. She says she'll be with him and encourage him. Do you think Xia's father is still alive? He promises her that he'll help her find her father. After they arrive at the hospital, Han asks Xian why she didn't go to the hospital like Maria asked. She tells him she forgot. Xia asks Xian where her father and mother are. Xian tells her they're gone. Xia doesn't understand and asks if they went out to get food. Han, frustrated, tells her to be quiet, but then Xian explains that her parents passed away a long time ago. Later, Han and Xia get up to leave, but before they do, Han informs Xian that he sent someone to take care of her. Xia tells her she'll visit her the next day, and they bid farewell and leave. On their way out, Xia says she'll call Han's mother to reassure her because she left without telling her. She realizes she left her phone at Xian's. Now she wonders, did she really forget it or was something else going on? Xia and Han return to Xian's room, where they find Xian taking an overdose of medication, trying to end her life. They stop her, and Xian explains that when she was in France, she couldn't sleep, and her doctor prescribed sleeping pills. She used to sleep well on them, but eventually they stopped working and the doctor discontinued them. Xian then found other types of medicine and took them. She realized when she arrived at the hospital that she was addicted. Han doesn't believe her and asks her if she did it just to get attention from him. Do you think he's right or not? Xian tells him no, and that she's still getting used to being with Han again. She gives him the visa that Han's mother had given her to help her with her studies. Xian explains that Han never used any of it, and that she worked to support herself. Her studies were funded by a scholarship, which helped her a lot. She wanted to be independent and prove that she could live without their help, as people had always said she depended on their money. Han asks her why she came back now. She says that when she left her heart with him. Han moves closer to Xian. Xian begins to apologize to him and asks him to forgive her. Han tells her that he forgave her a long time ago. At this moment, she feels a sense of guilt, so she gets up and leaves them. Afterward, Xian asks Han where Xia has gone. Han checks his phone and finds a message saying that Xia has returned home. Then Han says goodbye to Xian and prepares to leave. Xian thanks him, and the guy is surprised, saying that this is the first time she's thanked him. It's then revealed that Xian is the one who stole Xia's phone to make them come back. This also shows that Xia was completely fooled by Xian's plan. The next day at school, Nan and Xia are reading an announcement about a fashion design competition. The winner will get to attend a fashion school in France. Nan encourages Xia to sign up, but she hesitates because it's not an easy thing to do. Of course, Shin takes the chance to bother Xia, but Xia responds and shuts her up. However, Shin informs her that her family is the one organizing the competition. Han takes Xian from the hospital and drives her to school. When the students see them together, they think that Han and Xian have gotten back together. When Xia sees them walking together, she feels upset. In class, she sends a message to Shin, letting her know that Han came to the school this morning with Xian. We then see Nan and Xia sitting in the cafeteria after Xia decided to sign up for the fashion competition. Xian enters and thanks Xia for helping her get back to Han, but Xia tells her that they've been friends from the start, so they were bound to get back together. Xian invites Xia to join her for dinner that night, but before she finishes her sentence, Nan interrupts, saying that Xia will be doing homework with her tonight. Xian sighs and says, "What a shame. I was going to go out with Han alone, and I wanted her to come with us." Nan then adds that she thought she was going to visit her grandmother today, and Xia could come along. but Xia hesitates. Xian tells her that she has time to think about it until school ends, and then they leave. Xia turns to say goodbye to her, then she picks up a form to register for the competition. At this point, Xian realizes that Xia intends to enter the competition. Meanwhile, Jiang is sitting with Feng, complaining about his situation. Jiang likes Xia, but Xia likes Han, and Han likes Xian. It seems that Xian also likes Han, but it's clear that Han also likes Xia. The situation has become quite confusing, and Jiang feels like he's not even playing the role of the second lead. Feng tells him, "You've only mentioned 2 boys in everything you've said." Jiang asks him, "How can I be the first lead so that Xia will love me?" Feng replies, "That's easy. Let me tell you about the competition. Xia loves fashion design, and this competition is organized by Jiang's family. So, it's certain that Xian will win." Jiang says, "Leave it to me, I'll handle it," so that Xia can win. We notice that Xian is getting more tired, and Xia is starting to ignore Han. She's distancing herself from him and walking with someone else. But Han calls out to Xia and asks her why she's ignoring him. Xia reassures him that she's not ignoring him. Xia asks him if he wants anything from her. Han asks her to have dinner with him that night. Xia asks if they'll be dining alone, and Han tells her that he'll be going out with Xian. Xia responds, asking why they're going out together. Han senses that Xia is jealous and asks her about it. Xia denies being jealous and walks away, leaving him. Xian tells Han that she's not going with him. She also advises him to focus on just one girl. Afterward, she leaves him. We see Xia asking Nan if they will do homework together, but Nan says she was lying. Xia asks her why she lied, and Nan explains that Xian was teasing her, so she had to maintain her pride. Nan tells Xia, "You should have realized, you fool, that Xian was using you." She advises her that she needs to go with them to keep Han's love. Later, Han asks Xia to get in the car so they can go with Xian. Xia stubbornly says she won't get in unless he opens the door for her. Han gets out and opens the door. Xia decides to maintain her pride, feeling happy about it, wondering who will win. Han asks her what she's happy about, saying she should have stopped it. Han, Xia, and Xian sit together. Xian keeps talking to Han and teasing Xia with her words. Han gives Xia a napkin to wipe food off her mouth, but she struggles to do it properly. He wipes it for her. Xia says she's finished and will leave. Han tells her to stay, and they'll leave together. Xian asks Xia if she's filled out the competition form. Xia says yes. Han is upset when he learns that she entered the competition. They drop off Xian at her house, and then Han takes Xia to his place. He asks her if she entered the competition to avoid him. Xia continues to justify her decision, but then Han moves closer to her. Xia pushes him away, and they leave. Han recalls that Xian distanced herself from him because of the same competition. At that time, Han had asked Xian not to go and leave him, but she ignored him and left. The next day, Tian distributes the competition forms, but Xia is not among them. Nan goes to Xin because she knows she's the one who did this, but Xin denies it. Xia tells Nan that she doesn't want to participate anymore. They leave, but Xin stops them and suggests they search through the books to find out who did it. As they search, they find a form in Xian's book. Xin accuses Xian of stealing Xia's form, but no one believes Xian when she says she didn't do it. However, Han says, "I'm sure Xian didn't steal the form, since when does Xia like to help anyone? Besides, no one saw Xian steal it." Xin tries to convince Xia to report Xian, but Xia says she doesn't want to participate in the competition anymore. Xian is upset that Xia doesn't believe her and walks away. Han follows her. Then, Xia realizes that Xian didn't steal the form. Xia goes to apologize to Xian, and Xian follows her. When Xia arrives, she finds Xian and Han hugging each other. At this point, Jiang tries to comfort her, taking her to another place where they continue talking. Jiang tells her that if she loves Han, she should confess her feelings to him, as Xian is trying to get close to him and steal him away. Xia is surprised, as she knows that Jiang loves her. Jiang tells her that she appears tough on the outside but is very kind inside. To understand this about her, he had to observe her and study her. He also assures her that his words don't mean he has given up on her. On the contrary, he will continue trying to get closer to her. Jiang asks Shira if she wants help entering the competition. Xia tells him that she doesn't want to enter anymore. Meanwhile, we see Han and Xian back together. Xia is leaving the school and is surprised when Ling arrives to take her to meet her grandfather. Xia asks Ling why he hasn't been coming to school lately. He tells her that he'll be traveling the next day because it's his grandfather's wish. Ling then asks Xia if she'll call Han to let him know that she went out with him, but Xia says that Han is busy and won't notice her absence. Mr. Kim arrives to take Han somewhere and asks about Xia. He urges Han to call her. Han responds that she should have called him since she was in a hurry and left. Xia, Ling, and his grandfather sit together. Xia asks Ling's grandfather why he cares about her so much. He tells her that her mother was very dear to him, and now Xia is like his granddaughter. He then says that if Xia had been his wife, they would have had a little granddaughter by now. Ling replies that he's been traveling, and all this talk isn't necessary. The grandfather tells Xia that she could go with Ling to study abroad, and that her mother would be proud of her for fulfilling her dream. He offers to cover all her study and travel expenses. However, Xia refuses, saying that she wants to do it on her own. The grandfather asks her to think it over, and assures her that if she ever wants to travel, he'll be there to help, even if it's not with Ling. We then see Jiang asking his uncle for help, saying he's in love with a girl who doesn't respect him and always insults him. We learn that his uncle has raised him since he was young and is closer to him than his own father. His uncle agrees to help him. At Han's house, both he and his mother are waiting for Xia to return home. Han's mother keeps asking him to call her, but Han tells her that Xia knows the way and will come back on her own. Then the doorbell rings and Han rushes to open it, surprised to find Ling there, bringing Xia home. Ling tells Xia not to forget to think carefully. Han then asks Xia to come to his room. She texts him, asking what he wants. Han asks her to come over because he needs to talk to her. Xia goes to his room to find out what he wants. Han asks her about what Ling told her to think about. Xia says it's something personal. Han is taken aback and asks how it can be something personal between just her and Ling. He suddenly remembers their marriage topic and believes that's what it's about, but Xia decides to leave him. Han asks if they could not be upset with each other, then asks if she won't join the competition because of him. He tells her that he could get her into many design schools and open many stores for her after she graduates, without her needing to travel. However, Xia tells him that the competition has already closed, and she wants to achieve her goals on her own, without relying on anyone. The next day, she enters the classroom and finds something written on the board about her. Xian accuses Xia of writing it because she was the first one to enter the room. She asks, "Who wrote this?" and wonders if Xian had anything to do with it. We continue the summary. Nan tells Xian that she didn't do it, even though she doesn't like her. But that doesn't mean she would do something like that. Han enters the room and asks Nan if she wrote it. Nan denies it, and Xia believes her, telling everyone that Nan didn't write it. Han then tells everyone that anyone who bothers Xian is like bothering him. The rumors spread that Han yelled at Xia because of Xian. The news reaches Feng, who wants to argue with Han for making Xia upset. He warns him not to do it again. Feng tells Han that Xia withdrew from the competition because of him. Han goes to confront Xia about what Feng did, but they end up arguing, and Xia is upset with him because she thought he was talking about Nan. We find out that Xin and Xian had planned to write what was on the board to cause a rift between Xia and Nan. Meanwhile, Xia is upset because of the argument with Han. Nan tries to apologize to her, saying the argument was her fault, but Xia tells her that she's not mad at her. Xia decides to distance herself from Han because she's convinced that Han and Xian are a perfect match. However, she's upset that she gave up on her dream and the competition because of him. Jiang gives Xia her competition card, and she's overjoyed, hugging him and thanking him. We learn that Xian is now a judge in the competition. The scene shifts to 6 months earlier when Xian was in France, working as a dishwasher. Suddenly her hand stopped working. She went to the doctor, who told her that there was a problem with her right hand that couldn't be treated. She decides to go back to Han because she lost the use of her hand and doesn't want to lose him too. Xia is sitting with her father at dinner, and he tells her that he met Xia, Jiang's girlfriend, at the competition. We see Han with a photo of Xia, feeling embarrassed because she embarrassed him in front of the school, and no one had treated him like that before except her. Meanwhile, Xia is sitting with Han's mother, who tries to pull her away from his mom. Han asks Xia to apologize, but she refuses because she didn't do anything wrong. After talking a bit more, she informs Han that Xian is entering the competition again. We go back to Xin, who informs Xian that Xia has entered the competition, but Xian reassures her not to worry because she will lose as a judge in the competition and she will help her. The whole school learns that Xian is a judge, including Xia. When Xia hears about it, she gets nervous. Nan warns Xia that Xian will try to make her lose. Meanwhile, Han is coming down the stairs and signals to Xian to walk together. Xia sees them and takes Nan with her to follow them and eavesdrop. Jiang sees them and asks what they're doing, and Nan points at Han and Xian. We learn that Jiang has reserved a room for Xia for the competition and tells Han about it. Han asks Xia if this is what she wants. Xia is about to refuse, but then Xian drops her coffee, and Han gets startled and worried about her. Xia gets upset and decides to go with Jiang. Jiang takes her to the room, which is prepared with everything she might need. The next day, the competition begins. The first stage is to take a white shirt and use colors to create a unique design. Everyone starts painting except for Shia. As the time runs out, she grabs the colors and begins painting the shirt, finishing exactly as the time ends. The judges take the shirts to determine the winner. Shia comes in first place and Xian is upset about this. Han sees them from afar and is happy for Xia, but leaves without saying anything. Zhang comes with flowers for her, and her friends congratulate her. Xia accepts the flowers from him. Meanwhile, Xian tells Xian that she's upset about losing to Xia. Xian reassures her that this stage was about creativity, and Xia was the most creative, thinking outside the box. Xian tells her not to worry though, and assures her that she'll help her in the upcoming stages, and they need to trust each other if they're going to work together. We see Xia going to her favorite spot by the wall, where she talks to her mother, saying that she's one step away from realizing her dream. She's surprised by a message from her anonymous admirer wishing her good luck in the competition. At this point, she realizes that her admirer knows her and is close to her. Could it be Han? We'll find out in the next summary. Stay tuned to find out what happens. Don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you get all our new videos. See you in the next summary. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe for more. Check out more recaps you'll absolutely love right here.